Next level, leagues above the devil. Flying higher than they said I would, they label me a rebel. Bogota barely as dope as me. Success the only thing that give me dopamine. A legend, the only thing that I'm supposed to be. Everything's the only thing that's owed to me. Yeah, I want it all, my baby. I didn't come to watch, I came to ball, my baby.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Finland, to round 3 of Drift Masters 2025, and you are joining us right here at the Power Park. That's right, a theme park where we have built a drift circuit inside. My name is Ian Waddington, and you'll be joining me all afternoon as I talk and walk you all the way through our top 16 to the final, but I won't be alone. I'll be joined by my good friend and co-commentator, Jacob Gettens. Jacob, top 32 was an absolute movie. Top 16 is set to be incredible, but in that break between top 32 and top 16, we were joyed with some more rain.
Yeah, we were, and it kind of resets everything again. I mean, more water down. We had a little bit of rubber go down after a bit, so there's going to be some slick sections again. It's looking like we might see rain. It's looking like we may not. The weather system's just going absolutely wild. I have no idea what's going to happen. Neither do you, but that's why we're here. Super excited.
Yeah, exactly that. No one knows what's going to happen, especially these guys down the grid. They're going to prep for the worst. They're going to prep for full wet. They're going to be ready to put those cars in any scenario that they need to work their way through to that final today to crown the winner of Finland. Look, this has been a crazy round so far. It's been a crazy season where we kicked it off in Spain, but let's take a look at the calendar so far. We was meant to kick things off in Italy for round 1. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, that was cancelled. We moved it on to Madrid, where we see Oliver Randalou take the win. We're right here in Finland now, where we're going to decide this afternoon who'll take the win here. We then jump all the way across Europe to Ireland, to Mondello Park for round 4, when after that we'll go back across Europe to Riga, baby. It's Latvia for round 5. Then we head to the Iron City, Ferropolis, Drift Island, and then for the final round we head to the capital of Poland, to Warsaw, to the PGA Narodowe, where Drift Masters meets Red Bull for one hell of a final show. As we can see down there, the driver's presentation was a little chilly, according to Conor Shanahan. He had his hoodie on, but these guys still heated up the track and heated up action as we see Timo Peltola bring out the top 16 parade in that incredible carbon fibre Mercedes-Benz wagon. It doesn't make any sense, that machine, but it works perfectly, and the crowds, well, they were excited to see so many Finnish drivers, Jacob, in that top 16.
Yeah, great mix, great battles that we came into in the top 32. Bit of a mix-up in a few spots. Drivers that were on heaters getting shut down. New and rising stars making their way into the top 16. It's still anybody's fight at this point. With the track reset, with the rain, with everything else, and with all the energy from the incredible Finnish fans here, you have no idea who's going to do well, who's going to go out, and we're already seeing, you know, this crazy series take its toll on some of these cars. There's already some damage to mechanicals. Our car's going to be able to make it through battles. Who knows? Who knows?
No one knows. No one knows. And as this track dries, we see it earlier on, as the breeze comes in, it dries the track very quickly. Not only does it dry very quickly, but it gets very patchy. Down at the bottom end of the circuit, before those two last final outside zones, there is a dip in the circuit where a big puddle gathers, and that it happened to Dwayne McKeever in his top 32 battle. Carried a lot of pace down that hill, got himself into a spin and knocked himself out of top 32. There has been some upsets, and I think we should have a little look at what top 32 had to offer for us as we see the action unfold earlier on today. As you can see, our start line marshal down there, just trying to clean off that start line, trying to remove some of that standing water before we kick off our top 16. But top 32 was the interesting part.
Information about it.
Really big battle here. But as always, we're...
So there we go, we can see a recap there of what is happening in our top 32 as we see a lot of names taken down, some upsets in the championship. Kevin Passeur taken out by Marco Zaccaril, a man that was on the podium just a few weeks ago, Jacob.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how things can change, especially at a track like this, which promotes so much flow and commitment in the driving. And this is what we're talking about, drivers becoming rising stars. All it can take is one good battle to change everything, and one bad battle to change everything else as well. As Ita Sidi out with the a bit of a small crash there, but that's all it takes sometimes. Just a bit of a tap, you get a little aggressive, and somebody who's on the podium not that long ago now sitting on the sidelines watching as other drivers start to move up the ranks.
Yeah, certainly so. And Ite said it, yeah, as you mentioned, has a hit with Jarkko Jula. Jarkko Jula not deemed at fault, moves through, but a man that did move through, and he's leading the championship in 2025 so far, is this man, Oliver Randalou. He got the job done against Burka, and you know, the wildcard driver, you know, put up a good fight, but unfortunately made too many mistakes in that lead and chase position, and Oliver Randalou takes a step into the top 16 and starts really now to cement himself in that championship fight as he heads through, and the Estonian driver very, very happy, looked very chilled in the break between the two, as we see Lauri Heinonen again up against a very on form this weekend, Yves Meyer. You said to me, you can't count his chickens against him. This man could do anything this weekend.
No, with a ton of momentum, and this is a hard-fought battle from both drivers, but a small mistake there from Yves Meyer is all that it ended up taking for Lauri Heinonen to move on. And I mean, these fans here absolutely pumped to see the local legend take that win, and we'll see, can he repeat what happened last year?
Exactly that, and as we see Jack Shanahan there take down the Frenchman Jason Benet putting it too close to the wall in his lead run and putting himself out the fight, and I think that was a big part of what happened in top 32 was drivers overdriving the car. We spoke about it yesterday at the end of our qualifying session for our qualifying showdown, that would drivers overdrive the car? Would they push too hard? And look at that, Shanahan puts his hand up and says, well done, and I see Jason Benet, and he said, I'm ready for this next round, I'm going to come for it. Conor Shanahan, again, another driver putting it all out there, but he took on a heavy hitting battle against Conor Falvey. Falvey was on form.
Yeah, Conor Falvey, I mean, really pushed the pace against Conor Shanahan, who just edged him out just that little tiny bit, but the Battle of Ireland takes another crazy turn here as these two gentlemen from Cork went head to head, and it sets up another battle that is going to just make top 16 already one of the most epic sections of this event. I mean, it's crazy what top 16 already looks like.
It certainly is, and we've got some heaters of battles coming up in our top 16. Even the one that's going to kick us off is going to be very, very interesting. And I don't think you could count anyone out of the fight this afternoon. I think with the changing weather conditions, with the way that things have been and how tight they were yesterday in qualifying, it could be anyone's game today. James Dean will hope it's his day today because he topped out qualifying yesterday with a 98.5, a near perfect run. And as you can see down there, Dean in the car ready for action. He'll be taking on Juha Rintanen for a spot in the Great 808s for one of those guys. The paddock down there ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, lined up. I mean, these drivers are locked in. We're seeing a couple battles deep of drivers just sitting in their car, getting ready, watching, lined up, you know, maybe checking at the big screen, maybe watching live right now on Red Bull TV and trying to see what's going to happen on this track.
Well, let's take a look at the track that these guys have got to tackle this afternoon. We see it earlier on today. Nothing's changed on the track except for the conditions. And these were the conditions yesterday in qualifying where it was bone dry. This was from practice as we see Jarkko Jula fire that car in. First outside zone collected nicely. And then they've got to get the rear wheels into that second long outside zone without putting the back end of the car too far into the wall. Then they drag the front end into that inner zone and avoid that no-go zone before they go to outside zone 4 and put the bumper back on the wall again. Then it's down the hill into that bump, into the crease of the fold as they pick up these two zones and the final zone on the wall, up on the banking, across the line. It seems very, very simple, but it is not. And with these weather conditions changing the way they are, that final outside zone high up on the bank has been very, very difficult. And as the track dries, it makes it even more difficult.
Yeah, it was the first spot that we noticed started drying off, the rain running down from that. It dries off quickly, and the cars coming through, it's very difficult to get up there at that point. So if we don't see any more rain, we're going to see this track get even more dynamic. If we do see rain, it'll be a little bit more predictable for the drivers, but I talked to the judges about it, and they said, we don't change anything. We judge them the exact same way, whether it's dry or wet, have to get through it.
Well, there we go. Let's take a look at the heat tree of what we've got going on for top 16. This is going to be the battles that go head-to-head this afternoon here at round 3 in Finland for Drift Masters 2025. And these are the ones that are going to stack up. It's going to be James Dean's take on Rintanen, Karpolinski, Zakaril, Nakamura, Kvia, Randalou, Keski-Korpi, Pashkonski, Christoforou, Heinonen, Jula, Wycheck, Nilsson, Shanahan. Randalou, Mika Keski-Korpi is one that we picked out and we said that's going to be a good battle. Two guys that are coming up, but you know, you could say Randallou's already already there, but Mika Keski-Korpi's driving this weekend has been unstoppable. And then the one you spoke about just earlier on, Shanahan versus Shanahan. They didn't want to meet in the top 16. They said they wanted to meet further on in the bracket, but they have to get it done now.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts, and they're actually mic'd up against each other. They'll be talking through that battle, both radios connected. I would pay good money to hear that. That's going to be nuts. And then the one of the final ones there, Piotr Vincek and Oran Nielsen, that is going to be nuts. Two drivers absolutely on heaters. I'm expecting big things from that battle.
Well, I am expecting big things today from these battles. These guys are all ready. The grandstands are packed. Everyone's got their shelters on. They've got their beers in hand. They are ready to rock and roll. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for top 16. Well, here we go, time for top 16, and as we always say, and I think we will always say it, the time for talking is over, because it's already it's good to talk about it, and these guys will always talk about it, but it's time to walk the walk. And as we were getting through that intro for our top 16, the rain began to fall once again here in Finland after a little break in the weather with that top 16 parade. Now these guys treated to a full wet circuit, so it looks like we could be full wet throughout the whole of competition. It's going to be Dean to lead out Rittinen for a spot in the Great 8, awaits for one of these guys. They put the cars into gear, they come off. Dean to lead out Rittinen, the higher qualifier decides to lead first as he flicks that Mustang RTR across the circuit. Nice line as Rittinen puts it into a spin, puts himself in the middle of the circuit. He's going to try and re-initiate, but he's going to find himself right up on the front wheel of that Mustang of Dean, as Dean keeps his cool. Fires through the middle of the circuit, misses that no-go, now looks for the outside zone 4, and James Dean, we know, has that perfect lead line as the rain hammers down in Finland. Dean puts that car right where it needs to be. Absolutely beautiful from James Dean in all weather conditions as he puts the back end of the Mustang to the wall. Rittinen finds the door.
Yeah, James Dean took notes from earlier on in top 32, finding a really good line through this. Seeing, I mean, he was one of the first drivers up before, so it becomes very difficult to know what you need to do. So I'm sure he sat back and watched everybody else's runs to see where the grip is, see where they can find the most speed. But Juha Rintanen making a mistake really early on. I don't know if he found the smallest bit of grip in there. It looked a little strange, but gets back into the battle. But at that point, it's all James Dean out front. Does take a nice shallow section there to miss the big puddle, and that's going to be key. We saw that take a lot of drivers out in top 32. As you come into our final zones, that large puddle, I mean, some drivers were using it to slow down. Some of it were hitting it, not knowing, and spinning. So that's going to be a very decisive area as we get through the rest of these battles.
Well, I think the thing for me was James Dean and Juha Rittinen had full wet conditions in their top 32 battle, where a lot of these guys later on in the grid, they had full dry conditions. So it's going to be tricky for everyone as we move through. Flames are up from the side of the track as the pyro blows into the sky, and Juha Rittinen flicks that GR86 into this second outside zone. Dean will know to keep his cool and keep a little distance from Rittinen as he doesn't know what he's going to do, but Rittinen puts the back end of that GR86 up close and personal to the wall as he fires through the middle of the circuit. Rittinen goes for the wall once again. It's a beautiful line from Juha Rittinen. The Finnish driver will want to do the Finnish fans proud as Dean now starts to rein him in, tries to drive that car right up the side, and he does as Dean looks for the door of that GR86 across the line.
Yeah, James Dean did exactly what he needed to do. More or less knowing that Juha was not in a good spot with that large mistake earlier on. James Dean went, okay, I need to run a good line. I need to chase him pretty tight without overcommitting, without creating some sort of mistake on my end, because if I mess this up and he messed that up, well, now it's in the judge's hands. So this becomes a really strong game of patience and skill here from James Dean in the chase, who does an amazing job of just keeping a close proximity without over-aggressive, without really pushing too far into Juha Rintanen, who knows he's got to lay down a perfect run to make up for that mistake that he made previously in the chase. So great run from both of these drivers. Really like that they both stayed in it, they both stayed committed, and both of them staying out of that puddle, getting up to the wall, and just a really solid run to kick things off here in our top 16.
Yeah, I think the thing that I take away from this battle is how nice both the lead lines were.
Yeah.
And how nice that they controlled the car, didn't let it go too wide after outside zone 5, put the car right where it needed to be, and got that transition dialed in where a lot of guys struggled earlier in top 32. James Dean steps out of the car and says to Rittinen, that was wild.
Yeah, great run from both of them. You know, very experienced in driving the rain for both these drivers, even just today.
Exactly, so there we go, slide of left for Rittinen, right for James Dean, and it's 1 vote for Dean, it's 2 votes for Dean, it's unanimous. James Dean gets the win, advances through to the Great 8. Unfortunately, Juha Rittinen out of competition, and he will be back in Mondello Park to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, Juha Rytinen is one of the best in the world. He's driven so many different places. This is just another event. He'll hopefully, learn from the mistake and see what's going to happen once we get over to Mondello.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Juha Rytinen has been recently, and he'll admit it, he's been struggling with everything that's going on inside his own head. So I think that, trying to get that mindset back again, that he is one of the greatest European drifters out there, and that he is worthy of being on the grid is going to take a while, but once he gets back there, he'll be in that killer mindset and he'll be deadly. We go back to the start line to see Marko Zakaril of the Czech Republic to take on Pavel Korpolinski from Poland. Zakaril, we see what it meant to him in that little teaser of what happened in top 32, bouncing around, jumping on the car, very, very excited. And as I said, new engine platform for Zakaril for 2025, getting himself back into that form of where he used to be as a national champion in the Czech Republic. BMW 2 Series thumb up out of the window for Zakaril. The anti-lag bangs from the back of the car as he comes off the line and he leads in Pavel Korpolinski. Korpolinski taking the opportunity to chase him down first. The high qualifier once again playing that game, chasing first as Zakaril puts the back end of that 2 Series into outside zone 2, follows that wall all the way around, trying to escape that wall, trying to find that perfect line to that inside zone 3 as he now works his way around. That again, another really nice lead line so far from Zakaril, but there's no shaking. Pavel Korpolinski, the Polish driver, super technical and deadly in that chase. Incredible sim driver as well as professional drifter. He's going to go too high on the bank though. Zakaril has to back out of it on the top of the bank.
Yeah, I really thought everything was coming together there for Marko Zakaril. It does have that mistake near the end, but the rest of that run looked really solid for a driver that's kind of just feeling the momentum of this entire thing. So
how about this? What about if the bank earlier on was causing everyone a problem because it was super slippery? But what about now if it's if it was super grippy and they couldn't get up there, obviously, as it was drying, but even when it was wet, it was in a weird position. It was like guys were struggling to get there. What about now if it's gone super slippery where it's really wet and it's easy to get up there, but then you hit the wall? Yeah,
that could be the case. I mean, there's walls everywhere on this track, and any one of them could take you out, especially with the momentum that you can carry through some of these runs. So with that last section, I mean, there's rubber that's laid down now from when it went dry. Once you get a little bit of water on there, did a good job. Did a very good job. And the question then becomes like, do you just hit the wall and try and power out of it, or do you make a big change like that? Do you make that correction and hopefully not hit the wall? But you see that correction, right? I don't know which one's better or worse.
No.
But either way, the decision was made for Marko, who pulled out of it at the last second.
Exactly that. So there we go. Off the line goes Pavel Korpolinski now to lead out Marko Zakaril. And through the gears they go, flicks that car from left to right on the handbrake for quite a long time there. Pavel Korpolinski, but he gets that car dialed up, set up into the outside zone. Zakaril doing a nice job, shallows up the angle, noses the front end of that 2 Series onto the front wheel and that S14 as they go side by side into that inside zone. Room given for Korpolinski to transition as Zakaril now finds the side once again and that S14, both guys wobble a little bit in that outside zone, but Korpolinski now starts to pull away from Zakaril as Korpolinski fires it into that second to last outside zone, and in comes Zakaril. Oh, and he gets into the wall once again.
Yeah, exact same spot, exact same issue, but this time now in the chase. So see how that plays out, but I mean, Pavel, really, really solid run out there. You know when you're chasing, or when you're leading second, you know what that lead run was like. You've got all that information. You can see where they made the mistakes, and you hope you don't make the same mistakes in the same spot, or you can do a little bit better. And I really think that's what Pavel did through this run, is when, okay, I see where Marko hit the wall, where he might have been a little bit short in a few spots, and I'm going to make sure that I put a punctuation in any of those places to ensure that when the judges are comparing our runs, they see that I'm doing better in that spot than he is. And that's a great mindset to get into as we see that.
It's quite a hit on the wall as well.
It was a good hit, yeah. It seems from the outside not that bad, and then you talk to these drivers like, no, it was a good one. And it may not be a ton of speed in there, but it'll shake you around quite a bit. But yeah, Marko Zakaril, look at that.
Oh, it was the wheel to the wall. That was
that's
the problem.
why.
It was the rear wheel to the wall, and you actually see it in that shot of that wall camera, trying to see Marko Zakaril. He's happy, nevertheless, of the run. And our judges put their decision. Look at the state of the wheel. It's completely broke the edge of the rim off of the wheel there.
Wow.
So it was more of a hit than what it looked like. Judges this weekend and always at Drift Masters here, David Kalas, Vernon Zwenefeld and Matthias Jedges. And our line judge, or our EVS judge, as we like to call him, does all the replays for our judges. Chris Witowski in the tower as well today.
Seeing a little bit of smoke coming through here. That's actually Tor Arne Kvia really warming up his tires behind.
Look, Marco Zaccaria pointing to the wheel saying, look, I'll put everything on the line.
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, especially in a run like that, and you've come this far.
Well, here we go. Decisions in. Left for Zaccaria, right for Korpelinski. And who's going to be taking it through to the Great Eight? It's going to be Pavel Korpelinski. Unanimous vote from the judges. And Zaccaria gives him a round of applause and says, you know what? It's always a tough battle battling Pavel Korpelinski because he's such a good driver.
He's so clinical. He's so clean. He can get through the run perfectly. I mean, you can use him for the perfect line run in so many occasions. So you've got to be that bit more aggressive, and I really think that's what Marco Zaccaria tried to do.
Exactly that. When we go back to the line to a battle that me and you are both looking forward to. This one's going to be a big one. Naoki Nakamura to take on Tor Arne Kvia. It is the man from Japan to take on the Norwegian sledgehammer. And both guys sitting on the line, ready to rock and roll. Naoki Nakamura, the higher qualifier, opting to lead first. So Nakamura knows what he wants to do. Thumbs up to the cameraman. He's happy to rock and roll. And look at this from Kvia. Thumbs up. Looks super chilled, dialed, in the zone is Kvia. As he pulls the handbrake, one last little test before they leave the line. Fires through the gears, both guys absolutely firing in top 32, and a little wobble there from Kvia as Nakamura gets that car right where it needs to be, right to the edge of the curb, onto the wall, and look at this, Kvia knows he can trust Nakamura, the winner of our qualifying showdown yesterday, and look at the aggression from Tor Arne Kvia as he batters and bruises aside of that GR86 through the middle of the circuit, a little wobble from both guys as Nakamura now puts the hammer down, starts to drive away. Deep into the zones goes Nakamura, and here comes Kvia as he applies the pressure, puts foot to floor, trying to find the side of that GR86 once again, up high on the bank. Nakamura tags the wall, Kvia deals with it.
Oh, so there's going to be a lot to break down here, and I do not envy the judges on this one because there was mistakes from both drivers in this run. The aggression is great. We love seeing doors banging. I'm a big fan of it, but it can lead to some problems. So Nakamura out front. Great initiation here. He's got this dialed all the way through the run, and Tor Arne Kvia knows this. And look how aggressive he needs to get in the chase. Starts to almost supersede Nakamura and actually gets into the side of him at the very finish of outside zone 2. And it kind of knocks Nakamura in a way that puts him a little bit offline. You can see it there, where now Nakamura's got it kind of straightened out to be able to make it through there. And then Tor Arne Kvia is on the back foot through the rest of this run. And then for Nakamura, there's a bit of an issue near the end of the run. So it's balancing things out. The aggression from both drivers is there. They're both, at full capacity, full speed all the way through this. But having a couple of little mistakes here and there really evens the playing field and makes it difficult. Look at Nakamura just throwing it in, and then it's almost a straighten across the line.
Yeah, that was quite a mistake there from Nakamura. Look at his team. Look, and the look on their faces says it all. Yeah, and it was a mistake from Nakamura. You see it from that different camera angle, the amount of angle he pulled to the wall, tags the wall, and then, a strange line through that final outside zone. And here we go, off the line they go. Nakamura now to chase down Tor Arne Kvia as they fire through the gears. And look at this, Kvia on form, fires that car in. Beautiful line from the Norwegian sledgehammer as he puts a back bumper of that S13 into the wall. But look at Nakamura, he can't be shaken. He shallows up the angle and he starts putting the front wheel of that GR86 onto the door. That S13 transitions before Kvia and rubs the rear bumper as they fire through outside zone 4. Kvia on a nicer lead line at the moment, but there is no losing the Japanese driver throughout this circuit as Nakamura is going for this one. He dives in once again, the final outside zone coming as Kvia puts it to the wall across the line.
Wow, solid run. The amount of angle that Tor Arne Kvia could get out of that car all the way around that run was absolutely wild. I don't know how the physics work that allow a car to be sitting on angle like that for so long through these zones, but just backing it, look at this. Still pushing through the run, still keeping speed with it, and Nakamura just hunting him all the way through. Couldn't fit anything between them. A little bit of a love tap there on the transition, and then Nakamura back on throttle to get into the side of Tor Arne Kvia. Man, one great looking battle. Both these liveries look incredible.
Very cool.
I'm not sure if we're in Finland or Japan right now, but so cool to see from two competitors that are top of the field in their chase game. Both very aggressive, but both very friendly off track. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, great battle here from both these guys. That was what an awesome way to get through top 16 right now.
It certainly is.
Sad one of them's got to go home because I want to see this.
I was just thinking that. Could we just do it again and again and again and just watch these guys go battle head to head? And look at that Kvia. You could see the onboard reaction of Kvia as he was screaming in the car and shouting. He was happy with that.
Nah, he knows.
And it must be sketchy for these guys to, you're sitting on the line, you're looking down that star straight line, and you're thinking, how is it out there? How are the conditions?
Yeah. Yeah, you can take a solid guess at it, but we're already seeing some changes in this track, so it's anybody's shot at this point.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, the decision drops in from the judges. Who's going to take it through to the Great Eight? Both guys will want a shot at Great Eight, that's for sure. Slide them left for Nakamura, right for Kvia. It's 1 vote for Kvia. It's 2 votes for Tor Arne Kvia as he gets the win and advances through to the Great Eight. And we lose Naoki Nakamura, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the wall hit from, and the judges give me the thumbs up. Yeah, Nakamura hitting the wall on that final outside zone. Unfortunately, it just upset the line. Becky's down there with Tor Arne Kvia. Becky, he must be happy. We heard it in the car. The screaming and shouting couldn't be missed.
Tor, you were elated there to get yourself into the Great Eight. We were just chatting there. You said Spain wasn't great for me, but we're here in Finland and we're advancing on.
Oh yeah, these conditions are so hard driving on, and I don't really know how to control it, but it's so different. Every corner is different, so I'm just trying my best. But driving against Naoki, he's the reason I'm running a pink car, and yeah, I'm over the moon. Like, my heart is pumping harder than ever.
We were watching there in the chase position, you're holding angles so fluidly. I was going to ask you how you did it, but at this moment you're just like, I don't actually know.
I have no idea, I'm sorry.
Well, there you have it, guys. We'll see you in the top 8, Tor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Becky. Yeah, there you go. Spain wasn't the round for Kvia.
It happens.
It wasn't the round.
Not every round is for every driver.
You know, these drivers are at the top of their game weekend on weekend, and sometimes it doesn't play off for them. Kvia will be happy moving through to the Great Eight. Who will he be battling, though? That is to be decided right now, as we see Oliver Randlew on the line to take on Mika Keskikorpi, a battle that me and you both pointed out as a big one. And Mika Keskikorpi asked to go in the lead position by Oliver Randlew.
Interesting. Yeah, these tactics are great. It just adds such a next level to every battle where, you know, one more choice, one more decision, and it could make or break your entire run.
It certainly could. Well, there we go. Wipers on for Oliver Randlew, the man leading the championship at the moment. Now chases down the young Finnish driver that's here to make a statement. And look at the big flick from Mika Keskikorpi. And he almost leads Randlew into the wall too early. And he's absolutely almost up and gone. And it takes Randlew a little while there to get himself back into the fight as Mika Keskikorpi now flicks his way through the middle of the circuit. He's going to go very deep on outside zone 4, and he gets himself in the zone. But look at Randlew on the back bumper. There's no shake in the Estonian driver as Finland and Estonia go head to head. Mika Keskikorpi puts that car in to that second to last outside zone. He looks for the wall, he looks for the outside zone, and Randlew spins.
Wow. Man, okay. Mika Keskikorpi, what he did there is he drug Oliver Randlew into deep water.
Yeah.
He went, I'm going to throw everything at this. I'm going to go wide. I'm going to sling it. I'm going to do fast transitions. I'm going to hold more angle than anybody think is possible. I'm going to run the wall the whole way through. And Oliver Randlew hung with him for almost every single step of the way. And that is a massive accomplishment, because this run for Mika Keskikorpi is the definition of a stylish run. Big angle all the way through, full commitment, could have crashed at any minute. And all it was just one small thing at the very end that created that spin up. But I thought Mika Keskikorpi was going off there. When he came through that zone, heading towards that puddle, I'm like, well, that's it. He's mowing the grass. Somehow gets on throttle and catches it. And then right through here, that's it. Just that bit of spin. That last zone is everything in this run. Certain tracks, it's early. Certain tracks, it's at the end. But look at this. Mika Keskikorpi, tons of angle. And Oliver Randlew, I just wasn't able to hang on. Wow.
And look what it means to the Finnish fans. They were on their feet straight away. And this now, it kind of throws a spanner in the mix, because Randlew has to lead now. So Randlew now forced into a situation where he has to put down the incredible lead run. And can he force Mika Keskikorpi into a situation where he makes a mistake? But Keskikorpi can play this one clever and keep himself in the fight. And he does so far. Look at this. Shallow angle, still keeping himself in the battle as Randlew puts the back end of that BMW into that outside zone the whole way around. Fires through Mika Keskikorpi, a little shallow there, a little wobble, but he stays in the fight. Shortcuts the outside zone. All he needs to do really is keep close to Oliver Randlew, as Randlew does everything he can to try and force it his way to the judges, as Randlew goes high on the wall, kicks the clutch, and Keskikorpi puts it across the line.
Yeah, nuts, absolutely nuts. Oliver Randlew did what he needed to do. You have to run you have to do something in the lead that the chase driver just can't hang with.
Yeah.
So when we saw before Mika Keskakorpi, it was a lot of angle and aggression. Here, Oliver Randalou did scrub out a little bit of angle to try and run away from Mika Keskakorpi, but there were some spots where it looked like he was going to get away with it. He was really starting to push the pace on it. But Mika Keskakorpi, I mean, right here, look at the gap that's there. That's sizable. That is a big gap between those two drivers. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at this point, but Oliver Randalou, when you have that sort of situation, certain drivers shut down and say, well, it's over for me. Other drivers step up and lay down a heater of a run. That's what we saw from Oliver Randalou there. That is, either way this goes, you got to be happy, you got to be proud with coming up. But I think what we're starting to see here, because there's a little bit of sun peeking through, and this is very reminiscent of what we saw about halfway through top 32, where one spot in the track starts to dry out.
Yeah.
And it was that bank. So I don't know, but we might be in for some more patchy, dynamic driving once again.
Now look at this, Oliver Randalou still happy, even though
I would
he
be.
may assume what the result is. Here we go, just slide them left for Randalou, right for Keskakorpi, and it's going to be Mika Keskakorpi gets the win, advances through to the Great 8, and even Oliver Randalou, he says, yeah, I spun, there's nothing I can do.
But other than that moment, everything else about his run was phenomenal. So, I mean, I would hold your head high, and he's still well within this championship race.
He certainly is. Well, we'll find out where he sits later on this afternoon once we get those final championship points all added up and into the system as we move it across to the other side of our top 32 bracket, where we're going to see George Christoforou to take on Jakub Puszczonski. And that beautiful white GR86 looking fresh again after Spain. And George Christoforou, well, gifted almost a spot in the top 16.
Yeah, from a very rare mistake, but hey, you get that momentum, you never know.
Well, sometimes it goes for a driver that way. You can get the luck, you can get the rub of the green, as the Irish like to say, on your side. And look at this, full laser focus. He doesn't even look at the camera, he puts his thumbs up. This man, so decorated in so many trophies, in so many different forms of motorsport. He knows what he's doing as he sits on the line in the chase position. Puszczonski, the higher qualifier, deciding to chase again.
Interesting.
So forced just George Christoforou to lead first, not knowing the weather conditions. They come through the gears, down the straight, and a nice initiation from Christoforou, a little shallow on the outside zone. He's into the wall though, and he upsets the line. And look at this from Puszczonski as he plays it safe in the middle of the track, stays out of the outside zone. Now gives Christoforou the room to manoeuvre. Doesn't want to get too close as the Cypriot driver balances the back end of that BMW in outside zone 4. Down the hill they come, and he completely avoids outside zone 5. It's going to be a shallow transition into outside zone 6 as he puts it into a spin before 7.
Everybody's on notice now. Every driver that's watching, everybody that's on the grid, everybody here, it should be well known that zone is not easy right now. It is incredibly difficult as we see even more sunlight starting to poke its way through the crowds. But outside of that, I mean, George is just on a heater. He is being as aggressive as he possibly can against, I mean, an absolutely clinical Kuba, who almost predicts what George is going to do going into that wall, cuts a bit of the line out, and there is a little bit more grip, shallower through some of these zones, especially now that there's some rubber laid down in this. But yeah, I really like how aggressive George is in this run. Unfortunately, it means, that things don't go the way that he really wanted it to be. But yeah, Kuba Puszczonski, he plays this very clinical. This is a chase job from somebody who understands what could happen, what might happen, keeps back that little bit and doesn't want to risk it, allows George to make a mistake in front of him and doesn't make contact, doesn't risk the car. So that's a big part of this right now, is not risking the vehicle, because even if you're not at fault and something breaks, if you don't make it to the line, that's it. So there is a lot to be said there. Looks like we're taking a look at George's car.
So we're hearing word that George Christoforou's car has sustained some damage after hitting the wall. And yeah, you can see it. That wheel looks like it has got quite a lot of camber on the rear of it. It means the top of the wheel pointing in towards the inside of the car. That would have been made with a contact with the wall. So our start line marshal down there, Marcin, will be checking that car out to make sure it's safe before he leaves the line. And our safety marshals will have a look at it if needed. And this is how it happened. Look, he does take it to the wall quite hard. He gets to the outside zone 2 very early.
Yeah, I mean, if I was George right now, I'd be arguing, hey, I finished the run on this car, so why don't you just let me continue on?
Yes.
That's what I'd be saying. I mean, if the arm's not broken, it's just bent, it is possible to get through, and having a bit of additional camber right now may not be great, but if you can do most of the run, that wheel is not looking amazing. It almost looks like it's set back a little bit too. Hard to tell with the body kit.
Yeah, so I think they're just asking George, did the car feel good enough to run? It looks like he's putting his thumbs up and he's going to say, yeah. Look, at the end of the day, like what you just said, he finished the run with it. He feels confident enough to continue with it in the chase position. So we're going to allow George Christoforou to run on the second half of this battle, where we will see Jakub Brzezowski lead out George Christoforou for a spot in the Great 8 awaits for the second half of our top 16 bracket. There we go, green light goes, and Brzezowski knows what he needs to do in that lead position as he comes through the gears. That car looking so good on circuit right now. George Christoforou goes for initiation, a straight line one of that, and keeps himself on the inside of the circuit. As Brzezowski puts the back end into that outside zone, doesn't flirt with danger, and yet Christoforou shuts that car down. I wonder, yeah, it looks like he's got a massive issue on the back of that car as Christoforou completely shuts it down, and now Brzezowski going to get the opportunity to just run this out.
Yeah, this is a great time for him to explore the rest of the track and really see how things feel, and really check out this last zone is kind of the big one. So no smoke for there yet, but if nothing else changes, I wouldn't be shocked if we start seeing it. So George, I think he might have just shut it down, realized that the car was a little more finicky, especially when you have a bang like that. It might feel okay for a bit, but things start to loosen up or things might break free, and you don't want to risk more of the car for it. So yeah,
no,
Kuba, though, look at how calm he is back there. Just so relaxed, elbows back.
Well, I mean, this is a man that has raced Dakar in not only a car, but on a motorcycle. He has done everything you could possibly do on 4 and 2 wheels, so...
Yeah, he set a world record for the fastest drift at one point. I don't know if that still stands, but I mean, he's...
Don't tell him that, because he might go and try and do it again.
Maybe in the wet this time. There you go, next record. Why not? Why not here? Oh, man.
So there we go, both guys pull up to receive the decision from our judges. As Brzezowski steps out of the car, and Christoforou, he'll take a look at that rear wheel, and he'll know, look at that straight away. Takes a look down. Decision drops in from our judges. Slide him left for Brzezowski, right for George Christoforou. And there we go. It's going to be Brzezowski taking the win, advancing through to our Great 8. And unfortunately, we lose the man for Cyprus at this event. We'll see him back in Mondello Park for round 4.
Yeah, great attitude. Always got a smile on his face. Just, generally a great guy to have around the pits.
He certainly is a great guy to have around the pits. Becky's down there with Jakub Brzezowski. He must be feeling good once again. He's always got a smile on his face, Becky.
Kuba, congratulations on getting into the Great 8. We're seeing a lot of our higher qualifiers taking the chase position first. Can you tell us why you decided to take that position in this particular battle?
On the rain, I think it's always tricky, the first corner here on this track, and it's really hard to judge the speed. And I choose the second place to see how is the grip, and in the end I think it was good decision in this moment, but this is the competition, you never know what will happen.
Can you give us a quick track update? Is it all fully wet out there, or are you starting to find dry patches?
I did not hear enough, but...
Are you finding dry patches on the track, or is it still full wet?
No, track is fully wet, extremely slippery. Last corner is extremely slippery, and you need to be really quiet with soft with the gas.
Perfect, we'll see you in the Great 8, Kuba. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, it's still full wet, and yeah, I mean, it explains it right there. Yeah. The rain's starting to fall just as Becky ends out that interview with Jakub Brzezowski, and he needs to be careful with the throttle.
No, that's fair.
So basically, what you're saying is you drive with the throttle like it's got an egg on it.
Yeah, you just do one toe.
One toe.
One
just
toe.
Gently press the throttle, not too much. A man that doesn't know how to press the throttle gently is up next. It's Lauri Heinonen in this crazy Dodge Pro Charge V8 S13. Well, he's going to be going against a Finnish fellow shipman, and it is Jarkko Juhla, the man that made his debut here, this crazy JZX 100, probably one of the cleanest JZX 100s I've seen.
So nice looking.
It is absolutely stunning. It's almost a shame to drive it around the circuit and put it against the walls, but hey, that's what he built it for.
That's drifting.
That is drifting. And these guys are drifting. Here we go, thumbs up as he pulls that car into gear, looks across the camera, gives a little nod. And Lauri Heinonen opted to lead first as they come off that start line. Lauri Heinonen doesn't want to change the script. He knows what he knows, and he knows what he likes as he flicks that car from left to right. And look at this, straight onto it. Jarkko Juhla knows he can trust Lauri Heinonen. He would have watched this man growing up. He would have watched the skill that Lauri Heinonen has, and he would have cheered him on from the sidelines when he won that championship in 2024. But look at this, Jarkko Jula goes for it, and that was a wobble from Lauri Heinonen. Was that forced by Jarkko Jula? Well, we'll find out from the judges as he comes firing down the hill. Lauri Heinonen steps on the throttle once again. You hear that V8 scream as he flicks the car to angle. Jula on the inside, he can't find the side of Heinenen's car.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on in that one. There was just wild. It's both drivers kind of making their way through the track. As you said, egg on the pedal, but Lauri Heinenen's scrambling those eggs right away. You can hear it on and off throttle, really hunting to find that grip as we see that onboard as he gets right into the side of the wall, and just it looks like he's just using it to get around the track. I mean,
like
Lauri
a buffer,
knows,
a buffer.
It's almost like when you're bowling and they put the lane covers up and you still get a strike.
That's where I wanted to see.
That transition there, yeah.
That's where I wanted to see.
And I mean, there was a bit of a mistake back there as well, and Lauri had it. There's a few on this, and it just shows, I mean, these are some of the best drivers in the world right now, and they're fighting to get around this track. They're doing everything they can to find every piece of traction and grip that can be found here in Finland, but both drivers getting around, making it looking spicy, having a great time out there, and we'll swap them around and see what happens. Can Lauri hold back all that horsepower, and can Jarkko put down a better lead run than what Lauri did in front of him?
And here we go, about to find out as the light goes green. They leave the line. It's going to be Jarkko Jula to lead out Lauri Heinonen. Heinenen's going to go for a straight line approach on that chase, and he fires that car in door to door with Jarkko Jula as Jula puts a back end at JZX 100 into that outside zone, full throttle from both guys, and you can hear Lauri Heinonen just working that throttle, just tickling that throttle like it's got an egg on it, and now they go bumper to bumper on that transition again. No problems from either guy this time, but look at Lauri Heinonen. He can't be shaken as Jarkko Jula leads him down the hill towards that bump as they come over it. Jarkko Jula kicks that car on track, flicks it through that second to last outside zone. Jula goes for that high line, and Lauri Heinonen squeezes him against the wall.
That is a tight battle. That is as tight as a battle as we've seen today. Just both drivers getting through, filling the lines out great. Lots of angle from both, and the proximity was there. Very, very scrappy in the chase for both of them. Lauri, I mean, doing everything he can, and the nice thing with having such a large car in front of you, you got a ton of real estate to aim for, but Lauri always is going to aim for that door. It doesn't matter where it's placed or how many it's got. Lauri's going to be on it the whole way through, and look at him, just so precise. Most drivers through that section, they're going to have their hand on the e-brake. They're going to be trying to make those adjustments. Lauri does it all with the right foot.
Yeah.
He steers that car with the throttle all the way through this run. So great to see, and Jarkko just putting it down, knowing that he's got this absolute legend following in behind him, and both drivers need to be extremely happy with their performance through this set here. It was great to watch, and this final zone really just being tricky one more time as Lauri kind of giving the fellow Finn a bit of a push across the line. Wow, so much fun. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to have a battle like that in front of the hometown fans.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
When they were standing there, two guys that are drifting in front of all their hometown fans. What must the feeling be?
It's unimaginable. I have no idea. I've never been in their position. I never will be. And for me and for everybody else, not anytime soon. I'm happy to be up here, but for these drivers, that's incredible. Look at them, still talking about drifting.
Yeah, they're breaking down the whole run between them. They're saying, I made a mistake there. I see you make a mistake there, and that's what they'll do. They'll analyze the run themselves. You know, they'll go through the whole run because they'll know what happened inside the car.
Yeah, they'll know better than we will.
And the judges, look at this, judging in progress. They're still looking back at the run. This is what the judges are looking at the moment. I think this is what they're looking at is the point that I picked out on screen. For me, it was the wobble from Lauri Heinonen, and that's what the judges will be looking at. Here we go, decisions in, left for Jula, right for Heinonen. Oh, and it's got a one vote for David Kalas. One more time. It's going to be a one more time. We're going to see him go at it again. So there we go. We're going to quickly fire it to David Kalas, undecided by all three judges, David.
Yeah, we understand that the conditions on the track are not easy at all. It is very difficult, and we saw quite big mistakes from both drivers. From Lauri, if you look on the transition from inner zone 3 to outer zone 4, it was very stepped. It made life of the chaser way harder than it should be. It was in the first run. Now we are looking on the second run, and you can see that the leader was now going through the no-go zone. He was not fulfilling all the zones really nicely, and he's also having quite some hiccup before outer zone 7. So we said, okay, there's too many mistakes in both runs, and just clean it up, show us better.
Well, there we go. Show us better.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Because if you want to see better than that, I mean, that's quite the run then.
yeah, exactly. Right, back on the line we go. It's going to be Peter Wojciech to take on Tor Arne Kvia, Poland versus Norway, as they slam those cars in gear. This one is going to be absolutely electric. Both guys that always push 110%. Both guys that don't really know a limit.
No,
there is no limit.
No, there's no limit. The limit, I mean, really, it's the wall and the door in front of you, and that's about it.
And that is exactly it. And look at that. Very cool, calm, and collected and focused. Look at the eyes of Peter Wojciech. The higher qualifier decides to lead first as he flicks that car into gear and kicks the clutch across the circuit as Wojciech dances on the handbrake. But look at Tor Arne Kvia. He knows he can trust Wojciech. He knows that Wojciech is a world-class drifter. And he puts that front wheel of that Sora towards the door of the Super as they fire through the middle of the circuit. Big clutch kick from Nilsson as he sees Wojciech start to drive away, and look at this. Wojciech is absolutely up and gone. There's no catching the Polishman right now as Tor Arne Kvia can see the battle disappearing, but he makes a brave dive towards the rear wheel as they go door to door across the line.
Wow, that was spicy. What an amazing job from Tor Arne Kvia to time that out correctly, knowing he was getting pulled on a little bit and then diving in and cutting a bit of the line to do it. But Piotr out front, I mean, all his story here. Look how stable he is. That car is making almost no corrections all the way through. It's like he's on autopilot for this run. So good, so concentrated, very calm, smooth transition, walking that wheel around and just absolutely grips up, rips through this section. And I mean, that basically forces Uran to make that sort of dive. Look at the gap here, times it so well, drives right through it, and the next thing you know, on the door, Piotr, as they come up through our last zone, and Piotr, both of them on the wall up there. Other drivers, Kuba telling us, very slippery, very difficult up there. Both these drivers making it look easy.
Yeah, making it look too easy. And you know what, there was a brave dive from Tor Arne Kvia. It was either throw the battle away or throw everything at it. And he did throw everything at it, and he knew he could trust Wojciech right now. Wojciech, though, in that chase position, tucks that nose to that Super down the side of the Sora as they fire in. And look at this, Wojciech on the hunt already, on the kill. And he would have heard from the spotters that Tor Arne Kvia was all over the door on the front wheel of that Super as he fires it in, door to door, mirroring the angle, mirroring the proximity, getting everything done. As Wojciech now clutch kicks it through the middle of the circuit. Nilsson on a good lead run, but there is no losing the Polishman as Peter Wojciech puts that front bumper dangerously close to the back of that Sora. Good, one last transition to go as Nilsson throws big angle in. It opens the door for Wojciech onto the door across the line. Wow.
Wow, that right there was just how you teach people how to drift in the rain. Both drivers do such a great job through every transition, every zone. Piotr does an amazing job in the chase here, and a lot of that is just able to leave that door open for the entire run. Nice and wide through it, very stable, allows Piotr to have the confidence to be able to do that. And that is the trust that is in this sport. There is almost no sport in the world where to beat your opponent, you have to trust them and work with them in order to do that. And that's what makes drifting so incredible and nothing really like it. But man, Piotr just timing things, doing very, very much the same what Uran did on the previous run. Timing things out before our second to last zone, and then both drivers working their way up to the wall here. Not quite as deep on the previous run, but still dynamic, still exciting.
I was a little bit skeptical of the angle that Tor Arne Kvia threw into that outside zone 6 because he did fire that car at big angle, and he actually made it work. And especially from that drone shot, you could see how he got that car to work. It slowed him down, he got on the throttle, and then he could balance that car up into that final outside zone. Both guys are there agreeing, saying, oh, it was a little sketchy here and there, and it's like glass. And Peter Wojciech there looks at the camera and says, that was tough. There we go. Left for Wojciech, right for Tor Arne Kvia. It's 1 vote for Wojciech. It's 2 votes for Peter Wojciech. He gets the win and advances through to the top 8. Unfortunately, we lose the Norwegian. Tor Arne Kvia back to the paddock, and look what it means to Peter as he absolutely celebrates, puts his hands in the air and waves to the Finnish fans. That man is very, very happy. Big smile on his face, that's for sure. Look at that, thumbs up to the camera. He's in a good mood right now.
I believe it. I mean, I would be too. Just coming off of a really rough round previous and getting back in here, getting your momentum back, and already, I mean, lighting it up, showing off for the fans here. You can't chill this man out, that's for sure.
You can't chill this man out. Well, we have 2 more battles to go in our top 16. The first of one that will be Jack Shanahan versus Conor Shanahan.
Yeah, absolutely wild. This is going to be nuts. As I talked about earlier, these drivers actually, radios connected. They will be just talking to each other before, maybe even during, but definitely after the run.
They'll talk during the run?
I would. If I was Jack Shanahan, I'd be...
Like, did you hit me?
I'd be talking
Get off my door, leave me alone, stop bullying me. Yeah, oh yeah, we get closer.
Yeah, I'm the big brother, you know, that kind of stuff.
Well, here we go. They're on the line, ready to rock and roll. It'll be Jack Shanahan to lead out Conor Shanahan. The higher qualifier again sitting in that lead position. A lot of guys mixing it up between lead and chase, and
there's a lot of people in Ireland right now, you know, having some deep, very feisty conversations about what's about to happen here.
Oh, for sure. Well, there we go. Shanahan, Conor prepping himself there, winding himself up. He's already ahead of that start line. He wants to get as close as he can to Jack as they come off the line. This will be absolute fireworks. Conor said it earlier on, get your phone out because this one will be electric as they fire through that first and second outside zone. Both guys into the wall, tagging the wall as Jack Shanahan now starts to pull a little ground, but Conor squeezes the accelerator and drives up to the door of his brother's GT86. They go bumper to bumper on the transition. Jack Shanahan firing down a beautiful lead line so far from Jack as he puts that car right where the judges want to see him as he comes down the hill. A little bobble from both guys as they fire through. They transition identical into that second to last outside zone, but there's no shaking. Jack Shanahan, he's on the door of his brother across the line.
Oh, listen, when you've got two almost identical cars and two almost identical drivers, I mean, they share all these different cells and genes the whole way through. You get driving like this where it looks like they're completely connected. They're on the exact same wavelength. Look at the timing in these transitions. And it's not just one, it's almost every one where they're transitioning at the exact same time. They come through the same programs, they got the same family. It makes this sport look so much crazier because it's like they're reading each other's minds all the way through the tracks. You see them come through that bump. Same thing, transition at the exact same time to the same angle, and then Conor just right up on the door of Jack, hunting him down. That quintessential, you know, Shanahan knock on the door as they cross the line. It's their calling card. It really is. They always like to finish a run strong. And yeah, man, what a great run. I can't wait for this swap around because Jack, when he chases, man, it can be carnage.
It certainly can be carnage. It can be super aggressive. That's what it can be. As you see him come off the line right now, it's going to be Jack Shanahan to chase down Conor Shanahan. A little tentative initiation there for Conor on the handbrake for a long time, and that opens the door for Jack. And look at this, Jack closer than Conor as he now starts to push his brother into the outside zone 2 and around as they look for this inner zone. They fire through a big angle, flicked on there by Conor, probably trying to throw off Jack, but it doesn't work because Jack Shanahan fires onto the door of his brother's GT86. They come down the hill, and now Conor starts to pull a little ground on his brother, but Jack shortcuts ever so slightly, fires through outside zone 6. Jack going to fire up onto the door, and he does. Squeezes Conor against the wall.
I have no idea how you judge this. I really don't. I mean, good luck, guys. I'm glad you're over there because these were almost identical runs. They attack the track in such similar ways, and you can see here, look, it's like pulls what, maybe 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters out of it, just to be able to get that extra proximity. Jack Shanahan just a master through this, times it perfectly on that transition, doesn't get caught up on it. Both drivers, no games, no playing around. It is just head-to-head battle. Who can get through this track the best? And then Jack with this great dive here. It's just phenomenal. I mean, they could have swapped cars and we'd have no idea.
Oh, 100%.
That would be neat. That would be hilarious if they just swapped cars on one of these runs. But what a total treat for everybody to get to watch stuff like this. Anytime the Shanahans go head-to-head, it is just showstopper from start to finish.
It certainly is. And you know what? I was just sitting there watching back on the replay thinking we are absolutely blessed to see these two guys go door to door around this circuit with such skill and talent and precision, because both of those runs were absolutely pinpoint perfect from both of them. A couple of wobbles here and there, but both guys absolutely made it work. And it's going to be a shame to see either one of these drivers go out.
This was the finals in 2023. So you just got treated to the finals early. That's what's nuts here. Oh, man. Yeah, well, really good run.
Decisions in, slide them left for Conor Shanahan, right for Jack Shanahan. It's one vote for Conor. It's a one more time from Vernon. And it's another vote for Conor Shanahan. He gets the win and advances through to the top 8. Jack Shanahan loses out this time. Conor being super aggressive in that chase position, and a split decision from our judges. And I think they were in the same mindset that everyone else was, that you could see it again, you could watch it again, because how do you split it?
Yeah. I would have liked to see it again.
Oh, for sure. And there we go. Becky's down there with Conor Shanahan. He must be feeling good, but sad to see his brother leave the show.
Conor, congratulations. A very tactical chase run by you there. What was it like trying to keep that proximity with the conditions like this?
Yeah, very hard. It's always a hard thing to be your brother that early in the competition, but I'm glad that it was a good battle. Emotions are high. I haven't felt myself this year. I've been struggling, to be honest, but I feel really at home this weekend, and I'm just glad that I can have a chance to try push on now and try have a jump in this championship. But great job to Jack. It's literally millimeters. We drove for so many years in E36s in Driftland with KD Customs, and it literally was like the same thing, just slow motion drifting.
Were you hoping for a one more time, or were you sure that you had it?
To be honest, on my side, I felt like I had a little bit of a leg up. I noticed Jack hit the wall pretty hard on the lead. So on the entry, that's the only place where I was thinking is like, I need to relax a little bit there. But it's crazy. Two guys at the top level of the sport, and we're talking to each other on radios how to be better during the battle. It's pretty crazy. You don't get that anywhere.
Congratulations, Conor. We'll see you in the top 8.
Well, there we go. You were right. They were talking to each other throughout the run.
How do we tune into that? What's the channel?
I don't think that it could be publicly broadcast.
No, I don't think so either, but that's okay.
But nevertheless, to hear that they were talking to each other, saying, and not even, having a laugh, they were giving each other tips of how to be better.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And here we go. We go back to the one more time battle between Jukka Jula and Lauri Heinonen. Undecided.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, both drivers just throwing everything at it in their previous run. Judges saying, okay, that was pretty good, but clean it up even more. And both these drivers know how to listen. They know how to follow instructions, and they will. This will be a better battle, which is saying something.
Yeah, exactly that. So a few mistakes the judges saying from both sides of the drivers. They get the nod down there from Lauri Heinonen. Look at the leg twitching on the throttle pedal. He's ready to go. He lifts his leg off the clutch and lets go of the handbrake and launches that car off the start line as Lauri Heinonen leads out Jukka Jula for the final spot in our top 8 awaits for one of these guys. And Lauri Heinonen looks like he's turned that car up to 100. Maybe got let the tyre pressures down a little more, because look at this. Jukka Jula just can't hang with him. He's in the middle of the circuit on shallow angle, and Lauri Heinonen starts to drive away as he puts that car right across the circuit. Looks for outside zone 4. Lauri Heinenen's on an absolute flyer at the moment. This is beautiful from the Finnish driver Heinonen as he comes down the hill. Jukka Jula can't get himself into the conversation. He needs to do something, can make a stamp of approval as Heinonen fires it on angle, up on the high on the wall across the line.
Yeah, man. Lauri Heinonen took those notes and went for it. And we talked about before how he drives with his right foot. This demonstrates it so well. You can see and feel and hear the exact moment he touches the throttle on that car, and it just adds angle and it shoots out a little bit forward. Really knows how to use every implementation in this car. It's so incredible to see the level of driving that he's at and how that's bringing up the whole sport. And Jukka Jula just not able to keep up with the speed that Lauri Heinenen's got right now. That's really what it comes down to. Now, solid chase run, though, just not the proximity we're looking for. And as we swap things around, though, that could be enough, because as long as you're in the chase, as long as you're continuing this battle, you still have an opportunity, because anything can happen. We saw drivers who you think had the whole thing in the bag end up throwing it all away on something silly, and that could still happen here, as Jukka Jula has got big shoes to fill as he lines up in the lead.
Yeah, he certainly has. Look at this, Heinonen already creeping off of that start line, ready to try and get the jump on Jukka Jula. He doesn't want to let him get away. His fellow Finishman dives into that first outside zone. Look at this, Lauri Heinonen planted to the side of that JZX 100. Doesn't give him any room to breathe as Jukka Jula fulfills all of outside zone 2 perfectly, squishes the back end of that JZX onto the wall and uses it to push himself into that front zone as they fire through. Jukka Jula looks to go deep, but look at this, you can't shake Lauri Heinonen. He's onto the side, onto the rear bumper. He's all over Jukka Jula as they fire down the hill. Both guys go a little wide, but they deal with it, and Lauri Heinonen takes a brave dive onto the side of Jukka Jula's JZX 100 across the line.
Yeah, both drivers just doing exactly what they need to win this battle. Jukka Jula's got to lay down an absolutely epic and solid lead run, which is what he did, and Lauri Heinonen knows that he's got to stay within a car width of that car the entire run, and that's what he did. So both drivers they took those notes, they understand, and this is what makes them great. That's what got them here, is that they understand what they need to do no matter what the battle is, whatever the assignment is, they've got to ace it. So both drivers did that on this run. Jukka Jula, I mean, a little bit tight through there, but able to get through this run, hit all the boxes, check everything off, and Lauri Heinonen just there showing why he's a champion, showing why he took home the win here not that long ago, and really, really putting the pace on him. Look at the aggression. He knows.
Yeah, that is aggressive driving right there.
Very, very aggressive. I mean, such a smiley, nice guy outside of it, but once he's behind the wheel, man, whoo, he's a scary man.
He certainly is. And the visor goes down, it's business for a lot of these guys.
And then right out of the car and big smiles
smiling again, shaking hands, having fun, enjoying that. And Jukka Jula would have been said, like, I've watched you drive for years. I followed your journey. I've watched you become the champion, the first man to bring a Drift Masters Championship back home. Who's going to take it through? Will it be Jarkko Juhla? Will it be Lauri Heinonen? There's one vote for Heinonen. It's going to be Lauri Heinonen. Gets the win, advances through to the top 8, and everyone's cheering, and he sees the flag drop, and Jarkko Juhla says it's 1-0 as he steps back into the car. It's a shame to see Jarkko Juhla disappear, but we'll be blessed with his presence in Mondello Park at round 4 in just a few weeks' time, and that fulfills our top 8, Jacob, and it is going to be stacked once again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lauri, congratulations, you're into the top 8. Now, we always know when you have a one more time, it can be quite stressful. How do you reset in that moment to get yourself back out there and ultimately take the win?
Yeah, of course, you have to not overdo. Like, it's just the weather is now pretty good. Like, it's consistent, so there's no problem. I could do that all day.
Well, congratulations. We'll see you in the top 8, and hopefully you can do it again.
If it's that consistent, he could do it all day.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's driving, he might be doing it all day.
Yeah, like that's what he's hoping for.
Yeah, man, it's so incredible to see how good he is and how he's getting better every run. It's kind of scary for everybody else.
It certainly is scary for everybody else. And here we go. Let's take a look at our heat tree, the road to the final, right on your screens right now. Well, it's going to be James Dean to take on Pavel Korpelinski. Mika Keski-Korpi, he's still in it to take on Tor Arne Kvia. That's going to be a heater of battle. Heinonen, Pruskonski, Peter Wycheck to take on Conor Shanahan. We're going to relive that battle we've seen many, many times before. Yeah,
every one of these could be a finals battle easily, and all of these drivers are on it. Nobody is walking into a win today. This is hard fought all the way through, and it's going to continue all the way into the finals. And yeah, I got nothing. I got no idea. This is going to be pretty nuts as we move into the top 8.
We don't have to wait too long, Jacob, because it's almost time for action. I know everyone's ready for it. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to head to our top 8. Well, we've whittled 46 drivers down to just 8 so far, and we're going to keep whittling them down until we get to one winner. One of these guys will stand on top of the podium here in Finland. Will it be the man that won here in 2023, or will it be the man who won in 2024? Or will James Dean put a spanner in the works and put that Mustang RTR on the top step this weekend? Who knows?
It could be a wild card too. Anybody here could do that. There is no foregone conclusion in drifting. Anytime you think you know what's going to end up happening, drifting throws you for a side quest and takes you in a completely different direction.
And it certainly does. Here we go. We're going to move on with our first battle of our top 8. It's going to be James Dean to take on the Polishman Pavel Korpelinski. Korpelinski pulls up into that chase position. Dean opting to lead first. He's felt out those conditions. As I said, he drove in full wet so far all day.
And he's used to being in the lead. He's a driver that traditionally is qualified very high. He is very used to leading first. So for him, just keep the momentum going. Don't change anything and drive your race. But I mean, Pavel is a clinical driver. We have 2 drivers with incredible lines. Man, this will be tight.
It certainly will be tight. There we go. That Mustang RTR Spec 5 DM slots into gear as he pulls off the line. Pavel Korpelinski in that 2JZ powered Nissan at 206 S14 goes for that big straight line approach. Down the side he goes on that Mustang. You can almost lose to that S14 down the side of that Mustang as Dean puts the Mustang to the wall and around that long outside zone 2, but there's no shaking Korpelinski at the moment as Dean puts foot to floor. That natural aspirated V8 opens up and squeals and shouts across the circuit as Dean now tries to drive away from Korpelinski, but you can't get away from the Polishman. Dean goes nice and wide, but keeps it on the tarmac, and that opens the door for Korpelinski on the final transition as he puts it to the door across the line.
I think I saw James there in the window just tapping. He was stoked.
Yeah.
Absolutely stoked for that chase run. And Pavel, I mean, he just, look at you. I mean, there's some marks on there. I don't think those were there earlier.
No.
But yeah, Pavel Korpelinski, I mean, when you're chasing a legend like James Dean, it gives you all the confidence in the world that you can put it on the door. James does not play games. He puts it into all the way through the zone. As much zone as he can take in that car is what he goes for. And Pavel uses that to his advantage. Doesn't let that crazy, powerful Mustang walk away from him at any point in time. Just gets into it, drives his race the whole time. I mean, it's such a solid run from both these. Look at that transition from Pavel. It's so crazy to time that out. And it is a big car. That Mustang is massive, and it gives you that opportunity to do this. Look at that, all the way in there. What a great run from both of these drivers. And once we swap this around, I mean, James knows that he's got to drive hard. You know when someone's chasing you that close.
Yeah, exactly that. And it was risk reward there for Pavel Korpelinski. He took that risk on that final outside zone and it paid off. And you see Dean take a little cheeky glance out the window to see if he was still there. They come off the line, Korpelinski to lead in Dean as they slam through the gears, and a big clutch kick from James Dean as he puts that Mustang sideways, now looking for the door of Korpelinski's S14. He takes a little dive, goes closer as Korpelinski absolutely dialed and settled in that long outside zone too. Now works his way around. This is beautiful from Korpelinski. Oh, they go bumper to bumper on the transition, and I think Dean thought there was going to be a collision, held off a little bit, but now starts to turn the screw and work himself back into the battle as Korpelinski deals with the bobble and keeps that shallow line, trying to find that grip, trying to drive away from James Dean, but Dean is there on the door across the line.
Oh man, just even a little sandwich nudge there at the very end, but this to me is going to come down to these transitions because every zone was filled so well. It really comes down to how committed you are through each transition and how you're able to predict what the driver in front of you is going to do, because Pavel, through this run, looks great, and through the chasing zones, everything looks solid for both drivers. So when they have to change directions, when James Dean's got to suck back and then get that car, back into angle going the other direction, he's got to time it so perfectly. And Pavel, look at that. That was interesting. I don't know if there was contact there. I'm sure the judges are going to be rolling it back and taking a real tight look at it because it was really close through that transition. And I think there might have been just the slightest of nudges. And that might be what this ends up coming down to, because both drivers textbook through the rest of the runs, and James Dean just an absolute expert when it comes to nosing the front of the car in and then getting a little bit of e-brake or adding a little bit of throttle, maybe even a clutch kick to get the back end to slide around and get it completely parallel. So we see that last zone as both drivers just incredible jobs here.
Yeah, unbelievable from both these guys. I was watching the onboard there of James Dean. You can see the work he's putting inside the car, not only letting the car transition through its own steering, but again, another driver, we see it yesterday in qualifying, turning that car in more, dialing it in onto the door of Pavel Korpelinski, and they're beautiful. And the scenes from our Phantom slow-mo camera giving us all the beautiful shots, both guys out of the car, ready to receive the decision from our judges. And I think the judges are still deliberating this one. Still some chatting going on from our judges. I can see David Kalas and Vernon and Mateus Jedges there just having a discussion. Our EVS judge there trying to give him back as much information as he can, rewinding what happened in the run, and the judges taking a look back at it. I don't think this one is clear cut, maybe as what it looked in the past. We could see on our other monitor now of what the judges are looking for.
Yeah, it seems to be they are really checking those transitions, and they flip back to the other one as well.
Big conversation about this.
Yeah, it's tough because there's a few spots where each driver kind of pulled a bit of a gap, and I think they want to take a look as well at any contact at any point. So those to me are the two big things that they're going to end up looking at is through these transitions, was there contact? Did that disrupt the lead driver? Here it's I wouldn't say completely clear-cut, but...
Well, here we go. The decision's in left for James Dean, right for Korpelinski. It's going to be a one more time. We're going to have to go to you, David Kalas. Unanimous one more time, but you guys were discussing that for a long time.
Yeah, because there was so much things happening on both runs. We've been putting down all the notes for the mistakes from both drivers which were happening, and there was so many of them that we needed to discuss how we are weighting each individual mistake. And then we came up that it was like very tight. If we would be pushed to decide, we would be possibly able to, but it is way more clear to send it one more time, and we will see who will be able to clean it up and who will not be able to clean it up.
Oh, well, there we go.
Couldn't agree more.
I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. Yeah, and that's why those guys are in the hot seat. They are the judges, because...
I'll take more drifting.
Yeah,
I'll take as much as I can get.
Do you know what, Jacob? We've got a whole bag load for you.
Perfect.
Before the day's over. And we've got a really good one on the line. We've got a very on-form Mika Keski-Korpi now, sitting in that lead position to take on a very on-form Norwegian sledgehammer. Tor Arne Kvia sits there, waiting to find out what he can do. These guys separated by only a matter of points. 12th and 13th place qualifier on the line right now. It's going to be a crime to see either one of these knocked out of competition, but somebody has to make it through to the final four. Who will it be? Look what it means to Keski-Korpi already. The focus, the determination in his eyes. He's gone for a big initiation, but he's missed that first outside zone. It didn't pay off for him this time. He gets into outside zone 2 and starts to work it in and starts to turn the screw, but look at Kvia, you can't shake him. The Norwegian sledgehammer is all all over the side of that BMW 2 Series, and contact on the transition. Super aggression from Tor Arne Kvia. As Mika Keski-Korpi now puts foot to floor, flicks that car down the hill, uses all of the grip available to keep it on the tarmac as they fire through again into this second to last outside zone. Kvia onto the door and lets Keski-Korpi breathe.
Yeah, Mika Keski-Korpi is doing exactly what he did in his previous battle. Try and drag that chase driver into deep water, take him to places on the track that they don't want to go. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work out in that first outside zone, but he didn't panic, didn't freak out. He just got back on the throttle and then went and attacked the second outside zone. Now, the issue with that is trying to drag Tor Arne Kvia into deep water is super tough because that boy can swim. He can take you through anywhere you want to go on track. He will follow you there. He will push you around the track any chance he gets. There's very few things that Tor Arne Kvia cannot do in a drift car, and he shows that. But Mika Keski-Korpi's got to drive his race out in the lead, do what you need to do, big angle again, big transitions, trying to keep that pace going on. But the Norwegian, that sledgehammer right there through the entire thing. We might be here all night. They're going to be handing out one more times left, right, and center, and that's fine with me. I mean, I don't fly home for a while. I'll stay up all night for this. It's great.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with
Sun doesn't go down to like what, midnight? So let's go.
It never goes down.
No, it's perfect.
Never goes down here in Finland. Well, we go the back on the line. Kvia to lead out. Mika Keski-Korpi. Look at this. Keski-Korpi knows that Kvia's fast. Starts to creep off the start line already as they come through the gears. Keski-Korpi knows he would have made a mistake. The spars would have been in his ear. And look at this. No mistakes for Kvia in that lead position as the rain starts to fall once again here in Finland. The wipers are on and both guys go bumper to bumper into that outside zone. And now Keski-Korpi starts to apply some pressure to the back end of Kvia's S13. They fire through, they look for outside zone 4, and look, Keski-Korpi can't be shaken. He knows what Kvia did. Oh, and he goes for an early transition, and it pays off for Mika Keski-Korpi. He's down on the inside, but can he make it work? Oh, he can! And look at the aggression from Mika Keski-Korpi as he pushes Kvia across the line.
Wow, every time that Tor Arne Kvia tried to pull a bit of a gap, Mika catch him Keski-Korpi right there, right on the side of him. That is so difficult to do, to transition like that. You have to put so much faith in the driver in front of you, but if there's going to be a driver to do that with, Tor Arne Kvia is so heads up. He does not play games. He doesn't do anything silly. He just runs this track as hard and as aggressively as he can. And Mika Keski-Korpi just, man, I love his chasing style. I love the fact that he will out-snap the driver in front of him. And Tor Arne Kvia is just going to push through everything. He doesn't care. He will rebuild this car as many times as he needs to. Puts it into the wall. Big transition, big float there. Look at that snap. Wow. Oh, that is so hard to do. I cannot tell you how difficult that is to do. And to nail it, like, just grabs the e-brake at the last second so he doesn't absolutely slam into the side of the pink S chassis. Oh, man, that... If we're making a highlight reel from this event, that has got to be in it, because that is insane.
We'll make sure that's in it.
I hope so. I'll call the editor right now. I'll sit next to him to make sure it makes it into that cut. This battle, though, was nuts.
Wow, that was incredible. Two absolute steely competitors, and they go head-to-head. There's no messing around, no games. No. They just go head-to-head every single run. Mika Keski-Korpi would have heard off the radio he made a mistake on that first outside zone. Look, I'm no judge, you're no judge. No. They're the judges in there. All I know is these guys put on one hell of a show just there.
I think he made up for it. In my books, he made up for it.
Well, here we go. We're going to find out what the judges think. And it's Mika Keski-Korpi on the left, Kvia on the right. And it's going to be Tor Arne Kvia. Tor Arne Kvia goes through. I'm going to look through to the judges. And it was that outside zone 1 that was missing that sealed the deal. Jan Vernon gives me the nod of approval. You can't be missing zones at this point.
No.
Look, it worked for him earlier. But just then, it didn't work.
Yeah, and Tor Arne Kvia would have known that, would have gone in and said, okay, well, then I'm going to make sure I crush that zone. And he did. And really, it is coming down to, well, I mean, how big's that zone? A meter? That's it. It's 1 meter difference, so an entire
We'll get
run.
you to lay on it later and work out is it 1 Jacob big?
That would be 1.85 meters, I think. 6 foot. With these shoes on, 6 foot.
There we go. We're going back on the line to the next battle of our top 8, and it's going to be Jakub Puszczonski to take on Lauri Heinonen. And I mean, look, Lauri Heinonen told me in Spain that he likes fighting from the back.
Oh, okay. I mean, he's got to work his way.
He doesn't like leading the championship. That's what he said to me. He said, I don't like leading it. I like to fight all the way through until the final round, decide it at the final event.
Well, I mean, this is his opportunity to do that. He's behind on the points chase, and now he becomes the underdog and fights his way back. There's nothing better than an underdog story.
But Jakub Puszczonski's also fighting from the back.
Yeah.
So we've got two guys fighting from the back. They're hungry for a win, hungry for a podium, hungry to get more points in the bag for the championship. And here we go. Lauri Heinonen fires that car in, nice angle. But look at this, Kuba Brzezowski can trust Lauri Heinonen. He knows he's the 2024 champion, defending champion. He knows he can throw everything at it. And look at this from Heinonen. He's found that perfect line in outside zone 2 as they flick through. It looks like a little contact there on the transition. Kuba Brzezowski getting all up in the grill with Lauri Heinonen as they come down the hill. You can't shake the Polish driver right now as he once again goes for it. Oh, and another big transition as Heinonen puts it up towards the wall and across the line.
Yeah, Lauri Heinenen's using his rear bumper like curb feelers all the way around this track. It's like he's got a sensor back there. It's like a reverse sensor. He knows exactly where he is. He could run this completely blindfolded at this point. It's so locked in and ingrained. And as he said, if it stays wet like this, I could run it all day. And Kuba Brzezowski does not let him get away at any point in time. Right in there, almost going front wheel to front wheel through that second outside zone. And then through this transition, look how tight of a line Kuba's got to take.
Yeah.
But he's able to do it. He manages it and actually uses that to pick up speed and then close the gap on Lauri Heinonen, who's on an absolute heater. He's going through this track faster than anybody else is. I don't know how he's finding the grip. I don't know what he's doing, if it's something with the car, something with the drive, but he's got it nailed and gets all the way up to the wall in the last outside zone.
Interesting fact.
Okay.
That final outside zone looks like it's drying again.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It might rain again then, now that we've said that.
It might rain again.
Anything we say, the opposite
Lauri Heinonen will be
happens.
praying for the rain because he wanted it consistent.
Yeah.
Will he go? They're off the line. Lauri Heinonen to chase down Kuba Brzezowski through the gears, and that GR86 goes the Polish driver as he now fires that car into that first outside zone. But look at Heinonen, dials on big angle and deals with it as Heinonen now puts himself into that second outside zone. As Kuba Brzezowski takes a perfect line, they put foot to floor. And can Lauri Heinonen deal with this transition? He goes early and he makes a mistake. Heinonen makes a mistake. Kuba Brzezowski keeps himself in it. Absolutely perfect from Brzezowski at the moment. Heinonen caught himself up the inside. And now Brzezowski understeers. This one is all over the show as they both make a hash of it. Heinenen's on the grass, on the curb, and they're across the line. Wow.
Okay. Well then, this gets interesting. This gets very, very interesting. There could be a situation here where both drivers have zeroed out on that run, which I mean is going to then make that first run even more important. But both drivers just getting wild, and this is what happens when you're trying to push. When you come off that previous run, you know how difficult it is.
Let's take a look at where the mistakes were. Look, Heinonen makes a mistake here, straight for a quiet period of time.
Yeah, cuts a lot of the track there. Now, was that because Kuba, though, not on the correct line through that part? Tough to say. There's a lot of cause and effect in drifting. If something happens to the lead car, the chase car's job is to chase them. So did Kuba set up the incorrect line? But I mean, he had a mistake a little bit later on. So kind of becomes, where was the mistake first?
And look at that understeer. Catches that understeer, dials on the angle, and that really messes up the line. I want to see how it messes up Heinonen. Oh, it does. It almost makes contact. Has to almost come to a stop. And then Heinenen's like, I'm nowhere. I can't reinitiate. And if I do, I'm on the grass.
Yeah, I mean, Judge is really taking a lot of looks at the mistakes here to understand what's going on. Kuba with a over-rotation, which turns into a bit of an understeer. Really nasty situation there. Because they're really going on. I mean, the Lauri fans right now.
But the Lauri fans think that Lauri's won it.
They're going to think he's won it no matter what.
Yeah, he's won the whole event to them.
That's what it's like being a fan.
Well, the decision's in. Slide them left for Heinonen, right for Kuba Brzezowski. It's 1 vote for Heinonen. It's 2 votes for Lauri Heinonen. Lauri Heinonen advances through to the final 4, but we have to go to the judges first. David, please explain that one to us.
Yeah, normally we need to decide lead to lead, chase to chase. There is only one situation where we can decide lead to chase, and this is exactly what happened here, where in the second run, Lauri incompleted around inner zone 3, and Kuba incompleted at guidelines where he was like unchaseable. So we are having 0-0 situation in the second run, and in the first run, Lauri was able to get more points from that section, and he was able to get the win like that.
Thank you very much, David, for clearing that up for us. Yeah, 0-0 on the first run. Becky's down there with Lauri Heinonen. Becky, he must be happy. The fans certainly are.
Congratulations, Lauri, but that was a sketchy one. Can you tell us what happened there from your point of view?
I think he just went to over angle and was struggling because of that. Like, you are expecting him to pull through there until the 6th clip where there's a diesel, so yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see you in the next round. Congratulations, Lauri.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, a strange situation, but nevertheless,
Yeah.
We got a decision, and the judges, a tough day for them at the office this weekend,
Yeah,
that's
super
for sure.
tough.
I think it was tough from yesterday.
I had to go over and have a further conference with them, make sure I knew all the details.
All the details.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get all the details later on in the day, that's for sure. We're going to go back to the one more time battle between James Dean and Pavel Korpelinski before we finish off our final top 4 battle, and it's going to be Dean to lead out Korpelinski. This one more time battle undecided last time. Judges saying clean it up.
Yeah, not much though. There's not much more to go. So we'll see as the drivers get back on the line here. This is going to be a wild one.
It certainly is. Well, there we go. Korpelinski sits on the line, ready to rock and roll. He knows how James Dean, where he positions that car, how fast he is. What would he have done? Would he have said to the team, I need a little bit more grip, I need a little less grip, I need to do this, I need to do that? They would have felt each other out. Dean lifts the clutch on that Mustang and pops the front wheels up in the air as he accelerates down the straight, kicks the clutch to go down into that initiation. And Korpelinski now shallows up the angle, tries to find some proximity on the side of that Ford Mustang as Dean puts the back bumper to the wall all the way around. Now James Dean pedaling that car, kicking the clutch as he goes for the transition. Korpelinski looks for the side but gets lost a little bit. As Dean now opens up the throttle, starts to drive away from Korpelinski, but you can't lose Korpelinski, that's for sure. They both transition at the same time, and Korpelinski back at it again as he throws that S14 to the side of the Mustang.
Yeah, Korpelinski's just got he's got James's number throughout this entire run, and it does make it easy when someone drives like that in front of you, but Korpelinski makes it look even easier. None of this should be considered easy. Let's be perfectly clear. This is incredible. Some people can't even park their own car. Imagine trying to park it sideways at 60K.
Like that.
Okay, I mean, hey, I drove with you, so. But yeah, both drivers just absolutely wild here, putting the car within just millimeters of each other through an entire run, doing 60 kilometers an hour through some of the parts of this track, even in the wet right now. It is nuts what they're able to accomplish. And Korpelinski just able to figure out where James Dean is going to go, starts to reel him in, cuts a bit of a line there, but then uses that to then slingshot back in, and James Dean just on an absolute here again. Went wide there, does touch that puddle. Nothing wrong with it, but it's not the best way to get around this track. It can become very difficult as we see maybe smoke, maybe steam coming off the back end of James Dean through their final outside zone. Things might be drying up.
It certainly might be drying up. It's heating up on track. No wonder it's drying up out there as the pyro lights off the start of the sideline. You can see James Dean mirroring the initiation of Pavel Korpelinski. Korpelinski on the handbrake that slows him down. That opens the door for Dean. And look at the aggression from James Dean. He wants this one. He's hungry to get himself in to that final four. And they fire through. Dean goes for an aggressive kick across the circuit, jumps the Mustang over the curve. He's super aggressive. He's pinned up. He's wound up. Bumper to bumper transition as he fires down the hill once again. Dean onto the side of that S14. Korpelinski can't be shaken as he goes high on the bank and across the line.
It is very rare to see James Dean almost look desperate in a chase, and that's kind of what it looked like here. It seemed a little bit out of form, just really trying to push around the track, find anything he can, and that really comes from Korpelinski just laying down this heater out front. So James Dean does an amazing job at parallel and actually adds more angle and gets right into the pocket here. Korpelinski just on that wall all the way through, and James, you can see that left foot braking as our drivers come by. Look how close they're getting. I mean, shouts out to our media team for putting themselves in some crazy spots to get these beautiful shots for you. And you can tell just how difficult this is. And there's James Dean doing a little bit of off-roading, maybe taking some notes from Kuba about rally style as it comes through the rest of these corners. But very, very tough here. It's not often that you see James Dean kind of looking like he's falling a bit behind and having to make some dives to get back into the race here. Maybe there was a mistake that I'm missing there from the lead car, but I don't know. It's a really, really tough one as the track conditions ever changing and the competition, as you said, heating up as we get through these battles.
Yeah, it certainly is. So waiting for the decision from our judges to drop in. That was a tough one for them to decide on last time. I can see the judges talking amongst themselves once again as both guys out of the car waiting to receive the decision. Who's going to make it through to the final four after the one more time battle? Still one more battle to go, but this one to be decided. Side of left for Dean, right for Korpelinski. It's one vote for Korpelinski. It's Pavel Korpelinski to get the win, and he takes down James Dean.
Wow. Wow. This is what I mean. James Dean, I would say inarguably the greatest drifter of all time. He is not perfect. Things happen, but Pavel, shocked. Absolutely shocked, but so well-deserved for laying down that type of run.
Yes, certainly is. We're going to get a word from David Klass after this, because we know the battle's warming up down there. We're going to get Pavel Korpelinski off the start line, and we'll have a chat with David Klass after this top 4 battle, top 8 battle, the final top 8 battle. Yeah, look, mistakes creeping in there, but we need to get it clarified.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It was so close in the first one more time.
I will take explanations anytime they're given. Sometimes when they're not, I just hunt them down.
You just like them?
Yeah. All right, this is a battle for the ages here. There is some history between these two drivers. Lots of history, lots of battles head to head, and both of them know how to throw down in the moment. Man, I keep saying finals battles, but this truly is. This is a championship style battle. It takes it to the next level.
It certainly is. We've seen these two guys go head-to-head multiple times before. Both guys coming out, I'm sure now, the scoreboard of who's beaten who so many times. We've run out of pen, ink and paper to write them down because these two guys have gone head-to-head. Look at this, Shanahan looking focused as he puts that car into gear. It's going to be Conor Shanahan to chase down Peter Wojciech for a spot. The final spot in the final four awaits for one of these guys as they fire in mirror image on initiation. And Conor Shanahan tries to hunt down Peter Wojciech as Wojciech gets the back end of that Supra into the outside zone. A little wall tag from Shanahan, upsets the line ever so slightly. Look at this, Wojciech is up and gone. That car is super fast. It almost lifts the back wheel off the floor where it fires through. But now Shanahan makes a brave dive into outside zone 5 and another brave dive as he transitions into 6. Both guys wheel to wheel across the line.
Yeah, both drivers just scrappy through it, knowing what their opponent is like, knowing that neither one of them is going to give an inch, a mile, or anything else, and really throwing it at it. Look at how early Piotr Vincek gets that initiation going. Coming across the front end, Conor Shanahan could really tell how the cars load up and they can transfer weight this way, even in the wet. I mean, I would watch an entire run just in slow-mo to see how these cars move around because it is incredible what these athletes are able to make these just monsters of vehicles do, and the speed of Piotr Vincek as he comes through, touching the bumper there. And Conor Shanahan knows that he's getting a bit of a gap pulled and starts to make these heroic dives through each transition. Look at this. Just even a bit of a delay in it, which is so difficult to do. He has to wait for Piotr to start that change of direction, and is able to time it and still get back into the pocket. Both drivers very scrappy on that run. We'll swap them around, and the Irishman gets the fresh air.
GTA 6 off, as he pulls that GTA 6 off the line. Peter Wojciech fires in, he's on the handbrake. Both guys on the handbrake for a long time. Slows that car down, that opens the door for Wojciech as Wojciech now absolutely buried in the side of that Toyota GTA 6. And Wojciech wants this, he's hungry for it. But Shanahan leads around that first long second outside zone. They fire through the middle of the circuit. Shanahan trying everything he can to try and get away from the Polishman, but there's no shaking Wojciech right now as he fires down. Foot brake locked, and look at Wojciech, he's making dangerous moves. He's pushing that car to his limit, but he wants to be there. He lies on the wheel.
Wow, that is absolutely nuts as Tor Arne Kvia looks on, and Conor Shanahan, a bit of a shake of the head there, knowing how difficult that battle was. Just full intensity, even as the smoke starts to clear here. Conor Shanahan taking a bit more of a midline approach on initiation, but Piotr Vincek does not let him get anywhere. Basically rubs that tire all the way through that zone. Absolutely wild from a Piotr who's on fire through these zones. Just doesn't let Shanahan get away at any moment, doesn't give him any room to breathe, just smothering him in the chase. And Conor just scrappy, fighting for it, trying to put that car into the zones. You can see how much work he's putting into it as the track conditions change. We're finding a bit more grip in some spots, and each driver using it to their advantage to find it and push that car to the limits. And Piotr, that massive dive at the end, that could have been it for him. He did not need to do that, and that just shows how either driver does not want to let anybody get even what, a millimeter, anything ahead of them through this run. As Piotr with an expert level dive to wrap up the zone and kind of pulling a Shanahan-esque move of making sure the end of the run was solid. Look at them. Big smiles there. They know that was just crazy.
I like watching the drivers talk to each other after the run, because they're like, oh, I hit the wall. And I just seeing the judges look back at the end of the run of Conor's lead, and you see him tagging the wall there.
Yeah,
and a little spray up in the air, and the judges just taking a look at that, and they're still deliberating it now. They're still going through it. The judges not clear cut on this one. They're taking a big decision about this one. I mean, look, I love watching them talk about it, because they will then get out of the car and say, hey, did you see me make a mistake?
Well, and there's so much respect.
They admit it straight away.
Yeah, and the battle's over, so there's no more secrets, and you can watch it in the replays. The international hand motions of drifting when they get it out to the side, and both of them, very fierce competitors. You know, they take this so incredibly serious. These drivers put their entire lives into their programs. It is all about drifting. It is all about being a champion. But that relief getting out of the car, that adrenaline dump, you're like, okay, it's over. I've done everything I can. And now it is up to 3 trained minds up in a tower to decide my fate for the weekend. That feeling is just intense. I can't imagine
Wow. Well, here we go. The decision's in. Slide them left for Wycheck, right for Conor Shanahan. It's going to be a one more time for David Kalas. It's going to be a one more time. Matthias Judges decides to go for Conor Shanahan. We're going to throw it back to you, David Kalas. A little bit of a split decision, but you want to see him go again.
Yeah, everything goes to what is worse, if hitting the wall in outer zone 7 or missing the zone completely. So both are quite significant mistakes. Conor was a little bit more clean in his runs. Piotr was a little bit more aggressive. He had the proximity. So it was not so clean to decide who would need to go first or who is winning. Matthias thought that Piotr's lead was not enough. That missing zones is worse than hitting the wall. So he put it one more time. But me and Vernon thinks that we need more drifting. So one more time.
And before you go, David, I want to go back. As soon as we've got a little bit of time, we're going to have to wait for those guys to get prepped for the final, the one more time battle. I want to go back to the decision that you guys made between James Dean and Pavel Korpelinski. A tough one after a one more time, but you opted to go for Pavel Korpelinski. What swung you guys on that decision?
Yeah, this is something what you already said before, and this is like you cannot be winning competition missing the zones. And James was missing outer zone 7 in his lead. And then when he was chasing, he cut it very much, the no-go zone. He even put it wheel off into the dirt when Pavel was running nicely around those no-go lines. So that was like huge cut, and he also did a correction there. So those two big mistakes sealed the deal for James, unfortunately, even though his runs were really, really good.
Well, thank you very much there, Dave, for clearing us up for us. And it's great that we've had this bit of a break, so we could get back to David and chat with her. And we can see Peter Wycheck there pulling back into that area, car prepped and ready to go. And we can see the rest of the contenders there for our final 4 battles coming up in a few moments' time. We need to get this top 8 done first. And I mean, look, it's heating up down there. It's heating up on the grid. I want to find out what's going on. I want to feel how everyone is. Becky's down there. Becky, what's the situation?
Pavel Korpelinski, you've just taken down James Dean to get yourself a spot in the top 4. Can you tell me what's going through your mind right now?
Oh my God, the battle against James was simply out of this world. It was like the weather, the conditions on track are really difficult. I did my best. I think that my opportunity was to ever beat James. The conditions helped me. That's what I want to say. I'm super happy about it, and yeah, it just means a word to me to beat James. He is the best drifter of this planet, I would say. So yeah, it's a huge thing. It's a huge achievement already.
What is it like to follow that Mustang RTR? Because it is a big car.
Oh yeah, it definitely is a big car. The S14 seems like a toy car compared to the Mustang, and when I saw James chasing me and being close to my door, the car seems that it's at least twice as big as my Nissan. It's huge.
So when you're coming into the top 4, do you have to drop your tire pressures? Are you kind of heating it up now, or is it keeping the same setup to just keep on moving?
No, I'm keeping the same setup from top 16 through top 8 and now for top 4. Exactly the same.
Well, good luck in your battle, and thank you for your answers. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Becky, for being down there and getting us all that juicy info.
I know. I like the tire pressure question. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if he's driving that well, why change anything?
Be careful, we're going to be out of a job.
I mean, me too. She's getting all the technical stuff now too.
She could do the whole thing.
I would tune into the Becky show for sure.
100%. So there we go. Let's have a look at the battle tree as it sits right now. Obviously, in our final 4 battle, it's going to be Pavel Korpelinski to take on Tor Arne Kvia. Lauri Heinonen will face off against either Peter Wycheck or Conor Shanahan. Whoever wins that one more time battle, judges undecided on that. Want to see him again. Yeah. It was a bit of a split decision.
Yeah, I get it. That Pavel Korpelinski and Tor Arne Kvia is interesting because you have such a clean technical driver versus just a wild card, and we'll see how that plays out because I mean it's a good battle between the two, and yeah, this one more time, and you know the victor of whatever our one more time. What do you get as a prize? Lauri Heinonen. So yeah, that's
not a
prize. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'll take that prize over going home, that's for sure. But it just shows where our final 4 is at right now. That these are just absolute monster drivers, and seeing Pavel moving his way up into this as well is so neat. It's so cool to see his progression throughout this weekend, and I mean really throughout his career.
There we go, we can see Conor Shanahan in the car and his mechanic Liam down there talking to him. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I can read lips, but not Irish lips, so it's a little tougher. So
we see the team there just adjusting tyre pressures before Conor goes out for the one more time battle. We can see Peter getting himself prepped, getting himself ready to drop inside the car and laser focused.
Yeah, I think they're just checking to make sure that they're ready to go, all set up, making those final checks. I mean, a lot of drivers like to get reassured that everything is correct. Did you do this thing? Did you check this thing? And that gives you just so much confidence before you go into the battle is knowing that the car is exactly how you want it to be, whether that's a big change, no change, or a minimal change. It really depends. I mean, some drivers on the grid will change things between each battle or set the car up specifically for a driver.
Yes.
And then some of them don't change anything and they say, I will be the change. I will change what I need to do.
What I need to do, yeah.
Yeah, so it really just depends, and every driver's so different, and that's what can make this sport so cool, is you can kind of nerd out as to every driver and what they do and how they drive. So let's see here, drivers getting ready, fist bump, final tire check there. He's covering the gauge, he's cupping it, making sure he can't
doesn't
see.
want anyone to see.
Yeah.
Very smart move.
Yeah, very smart move. It is kind of one of those unspoken things where drivers really don't like talking about the tire pressures that they run.
No.
So, and every driver's a little different. And
well, I mean, there's so much, visible to a lot of these drivers. They can watch back all of the replays from the broadcast on Red Bull TV, so they know all the onboards, they've seen all the camera angles, they know exactly what they're doing. The only thing that most of these drivers probably don't know is tire pressures, how soft the suspension is, and they might be the little tricks that get these drivers the win, especially when there's minimal grip on track. There could be rain in any moment. What could give you the edge to win? And you're not going to tell someone else that.
And this is such a tight game all the way through that little advantage could be everything. I mean, I've heard some wild stories of cars being set up with some crazy things, like, having sway bars with a chain on one side, so the sway bar only works in one direction to get more grip in one corner in particular. I mean, and that's just scratching the surface of what these mechanics and drivers and teams will do just to get a bit of an advantage and that little bit of an edge to hopefully win. So super, super cool to see, and that's it. Mr. Shanahan locks in and gets ready and gets those tires warmed up.
Yeah, and here we go. We're going to see them both down there in that tyre warming area. Both cars put to the test right now as they warm the fronts and the rears and scrub them in, get rid of that oily, greasy surface on the rear tyres. It would have had a fresh pair on for this battle. There would be no messing around. Yes, the rain doesn't let the tyres wear as much, but when you're in this situation, you've accounted for so many tyres across the weekend, they would have said, you know what, we'll put a fresh pair on for this battle, because this could be the option of going through to the final four or going home in the top 8.
Yeah, some of this is definitely getting the tires warm. A lot of it is removing that release agent. And when they form the tire, there's a bit of oil to get the form to come off. You got to get rid of that, or it's going to be real difficult to get that car down the lap.
So there we go. They've both pulled to the line. It's going to be Wycheck to lead out Shanahan as the wipers pop on once again. I'm not sure if we've got rain down there on the circuit. I'm trying to look across to the few puddles. Yeah, we've seen wipers. As Wycheck in the car, focused and dialed out. Start line Marshall Martin down there just doing the final checks, the pre-flight checks, we like to call them.
Yeah, pre-flight check. I like that. Does he show you where the exits are?
Shows you where the exits are. Shows you to look for the lights. Yeah. Or the pyro.
Does he serve a snack halfway through?
Doesn't offer you any snacks.
No.
He's not that generous, but he is a very nice guy.
Very nice
So you
guy.
let him off anyway.
Yeah, great guy.
There we go. So there we go. All checks done. They get the thumbs up all around. It's Wycheck to lead out Shanahan for a spot in the final four. Awaits all other positions filled. Who's going to take it through? As Wycheck fires that car from left to right, Shanahan dials himself on the door. He would have known what Wycheck was doing in that chase position, and now starts to repay the favour from the one more time. The first battle as they go round the outside zone. Wycheck fires through. He looks like he's dialed that car up to 100. He's deep into the back, and then takes the tyre off the rim. Wycheck trying to deal with it, but can he hold on? The boot lid's hanging off the car. There's no tyre on one side of the car as he puts it onto the wall, managing to get across the line.
Holy, and before they even started, one of the things I noticed is we're starting to see bare patches on track. It is changing quickly, but that tire has exited stage left. For Piotr Vincek, that was absolutely wild. Just giving it everything to get through this run. That's what you're going to need to do against Conor Shanahan. You need to push as hard as you possibly can. Second outside zone looks great, and Conor making up for lost time on that. You can see the drying on the edges of the track. Yeah. Not so much on the line, but Piotr really gets that car flinging and then adds the angle in, but I think he knew. He knew going into that zone. He's picked up too much speed. and tries to get through the rest of this run. Look at tire pops back on for a moment, but I don't think it stays on for long. Comes through the rest of that run, one tire down. It shows how warrior these drivers are. It doesn't matter what they go through. If the car is still going to drive, they're going to drive it. As we see that tire completely deep-heated. Crazy, crazy turn of events here for Piotr Vincek. Down a tire and starting to exit out to the pits.
Yeah, well, there we go. He's out of the car, and he waves to the crowd, and our marshals down there wave and open the barriers for Wycheck. We need to make this one official of what is going to happen. Obviously, we can't change tyres here at Drift Masters. There are no 5-minute rules. So if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. And our start line marshal just down there giving the information to Conor Shanahan. And yeah, here we go. The decision's in, and it's going to be Conor Shanahan taking the win and advancing through to the top 8.
It sucks to see, but you have to think of some of the psychology in this, that Piotr knew how difficult this was going to be and knew he had to throw everything at it. And the difference between him doing what he did and then having an incredible run was a matter of a split second of timing and a few millimeters off the wall, and that is really the difference. We get spoiled with perfection all the way around the run when drivers are scraping a bumper, but especially in that Supra, there's no room for error in the rear end of the car. I mean, Conor's car is very, very similar in that way. But that is the difference of perfect and a crash.
And I think this comes down to, comments that was made yesterday. You can't go out there and just make up the numbers. You have to go out there and drive 110%. And when you're fighting for a spot in the final 4, you have to go out there and drive at 110%. You have to put that car to the limit. So it looks like Conor Shanahan's going to take a buy run here and put that car around the circuit just to try and feel out the grip levels, and try and feel out what it's like. Whether it's changing constantly.
Yeah.
It's smoking, but the rear tyres are smoking, but yet the windscreen wipers are on the car.
Yeah, it's really weird. It could just be a bit of mist coming through the air to hit the windshield, but either way, there are spots on this track, as we can see here, drying up very quickly. There is a good amount of wind, and we know that this track dries very, very fast with windy conditions. I'm not seeing any more sun poking through. The clouds look as gray as they ever were, but either way, parts of this track are very different than the way they were at the beginning of this event.
It certainly is, but there's nothing stopping these guys having fun at the theme park.
No. I mean, look, the Finns are built different. It could be a complete storm, and they're still going to go have fun.
Yeah, they certainly will do. Here we go. Here's the battle tree. It is decided. It will be Pavel Kobylinski to take on Tor Arne Kvia, and it will be Lauri Heinonen to take on Conor Shanahan. The roller coaster doesn't end.
No, it really doesn't. This is absolutely epic. There's so much chaos that's about to ensue, so much perfection we're about to witness, and one of these drivers will be standing on the top of the podium when we wrap things up today at the Power Park.
Well, 2 of these guys have already stood top step of the podium.
Right.
Will we see somebody else stand top step, or will it be somebody that's already been up there in previous years?
It's so tough to say. Everybody is just on their game right now, and as we saw earlier with Piotr, everyone is pushing and grasping for any little bit of an advantage that they can get, and it could be mechanical, it could be psychological, driver. Anything they can do just to get that little bit of an edge to beat out their opponent is what they're looking for at this point. Conor, I don't think this is luck at all. I think this is somebody who set such a high precedent and such a high bar for the other driver that Piotr knew that he had to push that hard. And we can see our equipment out here right now, taking another look at that wall, making sure that everything is straight, because really, that wall being out even a little bit, just an inch, could be the difference between someone dragging bumper and someone dragging it back to the pits.
Yeah, exactly that. So we're going to get that wall absolutely perfect to how it was. Qualifying, top 32, top 16 the whole way through. We've made sure that the incredible track staff here in Finland at the Power Park have made sure that the whole show has run smoothly, and that all the walls are in exactly the same place. And we do that because a lot of these guys use those walls as a reference. If it's moved ever so slightly, and it could cause a problem.
Yeah, and you don't want a leading edge. You don't want one piece of the wall sticking out a little bit too much. It can catch. And the track has been incredible. The staff here has been amazing. Everyone in Finland has been so friendly. I've had so many amazing conversations. So I'm so honored to be here and meet all the fans here. It's been incredible.
It is incredible. I love coming back here. How do you like Finland?
I love Finland.
Yeah, so do I.
Love Finland.
Well, there we go. Looks like that wall is repaired. And I think that is the official Finnish Drift fans. Have you met them yet?
I've met a few. There's been a few people in wigs approach me today. So.
You stole my voice, it says. Are they talking to you?
Pardon?
Right, here we go. It is almost time, ladies and gentlemen. The heavy equipment leaves the track, and it is time to get underway with our final four. Well, here we go. The final four is almost underway.
Yeah, here we go. Moments before. This is it. The final countdown to the final four. One driver known for just expert prowess in ability to be a surgeon on line, and another driver known for taking every risk possible to make sure that they are the best of the best. And this is going to lead to just an epic run as Tor Arne Kvia making sure that tire is well up to temperature before he gets to the line. So he's been doing this all day, too. He's really making sure that tire is cooked in.
Well, it's been working for him so far as Kvia warms the tyres on the back of that S13, and we see Paweł Korpolinski from Poland warming up all four tyres on this S14 2JZ powered. What way will this swing? Paweł Korpolinski qualified in 8th position, Kvia in 13th now. Will Korpolinski play the game? Will he slot straight into that lead position? Or will that little bit of rain that started to fall change the game again? As Korpolinski pulls into the chase position, it started to rain once again in Finland, and he's asked the question of Kvia, what have you got as a lead driver? Show me the line, show me what you have.
This is interesting. Tor Arne Kvia with some very warm tires right now. They're going to be very grippy. Is that going to be a bit too much? He might have expected he was going to chase first and wanted that grip to be able to keep up to the side of the ever-perfect Paweł Korpolinski. But now, maybe regretting the decision to have that much grip dialed into the car. We will see.
Or is he? Or is he? Or is that going to be the advantage for Tor Arne Kvia? He slots the car into gear, he's laser focused, he stares down the track and he kicks the clutch and he puts that car right where it needs to be. And now Paweł Korpolinski opens up the throttle and starts to drive into the side of that S13 of the Norwegian sledgehammer as Kvia bounces the back of that car perfectly on the wall. But there's no shaking the Polish driver at the moment. It's bumper to bumper transition as they come in to outside zone 4, and the track starts to dry even more, even with a few specks of rain, and Kvia pulls a little bit of a gap on Korpolinski, but Korpolinski makes that dive once again and now pushes onto Kvia's front wheel across the line.
Wow. Good move there from Tor Arne Kvia, getting the heat into those tires. It really helped them through this run, and it could have been wreckers or checkers here, even coming into this first outside zone, lighting off the tires super quick and really early, and the focus from the Norwegian as he comes around. Look at both feet working there, left foot. Yeah. I mean, left foot on the brake, and that's exactly what it looks like when we talk about left foot braking, holding that car back to keep it in the zone. It is something that drivers make look so easy, but it's incredibly difficult to do, especially as we start to pick up these speeds, and Tor Arne Kvia just so focused on the throttle, off the throttle, a little bit of left foot braking into the clutch, getting all the way around the zone, and Paweł doing a spectacular job in the chase, not letting him get away, but being very strategic in the spots where he wanted to pull back and then dive back in to the side of Tor Arne Kvia, and we're going to swap around now. Paweł has some big shoes to fill.
He certainly does, but we know this man's renowned for his line driving, for that technical skill. He comes off the line in that lead position as the pyro erupts off the side of the track. Kvia goes for the back bumper and dives down the side of Paweł Korpolinski's S14, and he's closer than Korpolinski was, and he starts to apply the pressure as Tor Arne Kvia starts to smash into the front wheel of Paweł Korpolinski's S14. He backs off and allows a transition as now he makes another dive down. Korpolinski goes into the wall, fires the tailgate in the face of the Norwegian as they fire down the hill, pick up the lines and look for that transition. Korpolinski's absolutely laser focused on their zone. Oh, but he shuts it down.
Oh man, that is just absolutely heartbreaking there. That run was incredible from both these drivers. Paweł just on it like he's been all day, surgical through it, and then it starts to come apart a little bit midway through this run. You can tell this is how Tor Arne Kvia likes to chase. He likes to put that aggression, intimidate the driver from behind, just pushing the car, hitting the door, and it can spook some drivers. And I don't know if that's what happened here with Paweł, but has a bit of a misstep getting into the wall pretty hard there, and Tor Arne Kvia just aggressive. You can see him steering into it. There it is, and there's that contact right at the line. As Paweł, I don't know if the car shut down or he just gripped up, lighting the tires up, and the tires just stopped spinning.
Stopped spinning, yeah. I think he lost. Something happened. The car broke down maybe, and there was nowhere for Kvia to go. Look, Kvia's already on the surge, ready to get to that. Boom! Straight into the face of Kvia.
Tough go from both drivers, but this is This is once again quintessential Tor Arne Kvia, just aggressive through the entire run and just trying to intimidate that lead driver. And the judges have a lot to look at here, but Pavel with a solid run and a few minor mistakes.
Well, there we go. Decisions in. Slide them left for Kvia or right for Korpolinski. It's one vote for Kvia. It's going to be Tor Arne Kvia into the final. And Tor Arne Kvia breathes a sigh of relief and he waves to the crowd. And you can see what it means to him as he holds his head. And all of the pressure, all of the heartache means everything right now for Kvia to be back into a final at Drift Masters. It's not the end for Pavel Korpolinski, though. He will head to the third and fourth place playoff, and we go live down into the paddock of the Shanahans as they prep that car, pump up the tyres. You're trying to look at the tyre pressures.
I mean,
it's a 0.
That's not the pressure you want. But if you listen, these drivers put so much on the line, and you can see the emotion from Tor Arne Kvia on that run, just trying to keep it together. This means everything to these drivers. Tor's family had to drive this car all the way back to Norway from Spain for this event. I mean, so many hours just to get the car back, to get it suited for this, and then drive back out. This means the world to them. This is everything. They put their heart, their soul, their finances, their time. They miss birthdays and anniversaries, everything, just to come here and prove themselves the best in the world. And that's what it means to these drivers.
It certainly does. And look, if you thought the high energy, the high risk, the high reward, and you thought that everything was going to maybe slow down for a second, well, forget it. Because it's time to up the ante once again. It's going to be the two guys that the only two podium finishers ever here in Finland. In 2023, Conor Shanahan stood on the top step of the podium. In 2024, Lauri Heinonen stepped onto the top step of the podium. And right now, in the Final Four, they face off for a spot in the final. Who is it going to be? Will it be the Finishman, who has every single Finnish driver, not only watching, but here in attendance, pushing him, supporting him? Or the Irishman, who has everyone on the sidelines and everyone back in Ireland screaming his name? Conor Shanahan pulls up into that chase position. Heinonen decides to lead. The higher qualifier says, I've got this. I know the ropes. I know what I need to do. Shanahan puts his thumbs up to our start line marshal, Marcin.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, e-brake. That's interesting. Okay. That is almost the international symbol for e-brake.
I wonder what's going on there with Shanahan. We're seeing a little bit of upset maybe. Look at this. Lauri Heinonen waves to the crowd, pushes the gloves deeper on the fingers, gets them ready to go. There's that little nervous look into the eye of Conor Shanahan as he adjusts his gloves. He looks a little nervous in the car, wiggling around, sorting himself out. Well, there's no time to work it out right now. You're on the line. It's time to go. They slot the cars into gear. Through the gears they go. Heinonen flicks it from left to right and puts that car right to the edge of the circuit. Opens up the throttle, but look at Shanahan. He's on the door and now starts to pull away as Lauri Heinonen finds a little bit of grip, some pace that's left on the circuit. The wipers are on, the rain starts to fall in Finland once again as they go bumper to bumper on the transition. There's no shaking Conor Shanahan. He wants a taste of that champagne as he pushes almost Lauri Heinonen through that hill section as they come back up the hill once again into the second to last outside zone. Heinonen goes wide, flexes the back end, and Shanahan is on the door.
Wow, just scrappy and brutal from both of these drivers who are trying to figure out the best way to navigate this, get through these lines, and then Lauri with this big initiation gets all the way through 1, gets it deep into 2, and Conor Shanahan's right there all the way through. This is our import taking a look to make sure, maybe see if that e-brake's working. It looks like it. He is using everything he can just to make sure he is glued to the side of that of Lauri Heinonen, who's just rocketing through this track and firing through each zone. Able to get through it and almost a little shallow in a few spots, but Conor doesn't allow him to get away. Look at the work back and forth between the e-brake downshift to get more power into this car and just try and get the wheel speed right as they come around this last outside zone. Lauri into the wall and Conor with even more angle as Jack Shanahan with a good job and a hand clap for his brother.
Yeah, a good job indeed from both of these guys. And Lauri Heinonen, you always think, is that it? Is that all the car's got? Is that all the pace it's got? Is that all the grip? And then all of a sudden he comes out and he can put even more, 10% further down. Look at this from Shanahan. He's absolutely amped. He sits in that lead position. Look at Jack across from him. He's looking over. He's talking to his brother, who's not even anywhere near him. He's saying to him, you can do this. You've got this. You can take him down. But can he take down Lauri Heinonen? The 2024 champion takes on the 2023 champion right now for a spot in the final as Shanahan fires it into that first outside zone, dials the car in on the handbrake, but he opens the door for Heinonen. They go bumper to bumper onto the wall as Heinonen can trust Shanahan. He leans on him, he waits for the transition. As Shanahan flicks it, Heinonen goes for the back bumper. Once again, they both go mirror image, mirror the angle, the good proximity. They transition together down the hill. Shanahan fires it in. Can he get this job done as he puts it through that second to last outside zone? Now Heinonen squeezes the ball, looks for the rear wheel as they touch the wall across the line.
Wow, both drivers need to be so incredibly proud of the effort they're putting in here today. Just every run is going deeper into the zones. The transitions are quicker. The tandems are even closer. Conor Shanahan off the line, whips that car around through the second outside zone, absolutely planting it. You see the brake lights flashing, just trying to hold back the horsepower to make sure that they can get it through the zone. And Lauri Heinonen right there through the whole thing, pushing the pace, pushing Conor Shanahan to just go faster and deeper into every single zone. And right there, that dive from Lauri. Man, these drivers just absolutely wicked, and we are hearing Conor Shanahan struggling with the e-brake, having to pump it every single time to gain that pressure, but really getting through in a little bit of a wall tap there at the very end of the run. Conor Shanahan shuts it down across the line, and he just having to navigate even through this last zone is so difficult to put the exclamation point on the end of the run.
It certainly is, and Lauri Heinonen, I think that Heinonen held back a little bit there because he thought that Shanahan was going to go maybe too far into the wall. You could see him just hang back ever so slightly, both guys out of the car. Look at this, helmet's on.
That's some nervous tension.
And that is a lot of nervous tension right there. We wait for the decision to drop in from our judges. Who's going to take it through to the final to face off against Kvia? Who will be in the third and fourth place playoff against Pavel Korpelinski? Slide them left for Shanahan, right for Heinonen. It's one vote for Shanahan. It's Conor Shanahan. He gets the win, advances through to the final. Lauri Heinonen will go into the third and fourth place playoff against Pavel Korpelinski. And there we go. We see what it means to Shanahan. David Kalas, that was absolutely textbook from both those guys. How did you even split it?
Yeah, we really liked that battle. It was really good driving from both. But as you know, you're not having good chase without good lead. And for chase runs, I need to say that both drivers did really good job. We saw like really nice proximity, even though we saw some little bit more aggression than it should be, some little bit more contact on the transition to 3 to 4. But what split it and what enabled us to choose the winner was the spectacular lead run from Conor Shanahan, who showed us like even in these conditions, you can make really nice and clean lead run.
Well, there we go. Without a good lead, you can't have a good chase, and you needed that good lead to get that good chase. Both guys super aggressive. Becky is down there on the grid with Conor Shanahan. We see what it meant to him, Becky. He must be happy.
Conor, an incredible run there. We can see the emotions coming out of you. What is it like to put on such a clinical lead run in these conditions?
Yeah, my spotter came on the radio and said, this needs to be perfect, and I don't think I can do much more in the rain. There's nothing left in the tank. I think I'm winning these battles by people hitting outer zone 2. I'm just trying to stay as clean as possible. But Lauri Heinonen, Olli Kanjota, and all these Finnish fans are incredible. I have massive support for Lauri. It's always an incredible battle. Can go either way every time, but the fight is back on. I want the championship back to Ireland.
What does this mean for you to be getting that spot in the final?
Amazing. I haven't been on the podium since Riga last year. So it's a quite nice feeling, and it's pretty cool to do it on. This is probably my favorite track of the season, so it's good to be back in the race.
Congratulations, Conor. It's time to get it done. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah, there we go. He's back in the fight. He's hungry. Hasn't been on the podium since Riga 2024.
Wow.
And that's a big statement. Let's take a look at the heat tree and let's see how this is going to go off. It's going to be Pavel Korpelinski and Lauri Heinonen in the third and fourth place playoff, and then Conor Shanahan, Tor Arne Kvia in the final. That will be electric. Two very aggressive drivers, two incredibly good line drivers. It's going to be splitting hairs for the judges down on that one, especially even in our playoff.
Yeah, I mean, the playoff is no joke here. Just nuts drivers on both sides of that. And then in the finals, both drivers with a lot to prove right now. I mean, Tor Arne Kvia is a driver that kind of left and I wouldn't even say retired, but took a little bit of a step back for a time and then realized he was still great and actually kind of won his way into wildcard spots to get back into Drift Masters. And then Conor Shanahan, who had an incredible season winning that championship and then struggled afterwards. So much to prove for everybody that's on grid right now. Lauri needs this podium in front of the fans, and Pavel just needs to show and prove that he deserves to be here. He is a driver that deserves to be on the podium, and then two drivers with so much more to prove in the final. It's like the stories are incredible, and everything is on the line for every one of these battles. As we see here, Lauri Heinonen getting ready for his third place battle against an absolutely incredible and clinical Pavel Korpelinski.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Lauri Heinonen, that's for sure. He's not going to have it easy against the Polishman of Pavel Korpelinski, as we see Heinonen now leaving his pit area, making his way down there onto the grid, and that will be the first battle we see. It will be Pavel versus Lauri. Well, that's it. It's time to get it underway. It's time for our playoff. Well, there we go. We've whittled it right down now. We started off with 46 drivers. It started to rain again, and now we're down to just 4 and just 3 steps on the podium. Who will take the third step on the podium? Will it be Pavel Korpelinski? Will it be Lauri Heinonen? He was on the podium in 2024, and he'll want to get back on there in front of his home fans. He'll want to do it for the Finnish drivers, and he's a man that he said loves to fight from the back.
Yeah, he's now in that spot. I mean, listen, not many people remember who takes fourth.
No.
People remember who takes third. And after losing that battle, you get that drive and that passion of it's not going to happen again. Not this weekend, not now, not here, not in front of my fans. So for Lauri Heinonen, there is so much pressure right now to be able to stand on that podium in front of everybody here in Finland. And I cannot imagine them for Pavel just cementing himself in the history books and taking down last year's champion. That is massive, absolutely massive.
And the thing for Pavel Korpelinski, he's always been the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Right.
He's always been pipped to the post every time at the last minute. He's always been in that championship fight. He's always been in that top 10, but never has he been there. Never has he really been in the cusp of it. Never has he been in the conversation when we get to the PGA Narodowe in Poland for those finals. Has he been there and said, I'm fighting at this event for the championship? Could this be the year that Pavel Korpelinski gets himself into a position where, as we move through the year, he starts to really strengthen himself? He's gelling with his car. He said all he done in the off-season was added a few more horsepower and took away a few kilograms.
Yeah. It's made all the difference, though. But, I mean, when you're sitting on 5th place last year, you really want to push things. And then, being in a championship hunt and being back in Poland, that to me is insane. That is the ultimate dream for so many of these drivers.
I mean, look, he would love to win it in Poland, in the final, in front of his home crowd. That's what Pavel Korpelinski would love to do. And this could be the year that he could shine. He warms up the tyres on the back of that S14A, that 2JZ singing as he gets plenty of heat in him. What way will he pull? Well, he pulls over to the chase position as Pavel Korpelinski.
Yeah, he's forcing Lauri Heinenen's hand here to take that lead off the start, especially with a bit more rain coming down.
Well, yeah, so the clouds have opened up, and now the rain starts to fall a little bit heavier as Pavel Korpelinski asks the question of Lauri Heinonen, what have you got in that lead position? He knows he can trust him. He knows he's a good lead driver, but now Korpelinski wants to apply the pressure straight off the bat. They get the thumbs up all around from our start line Marshall Martin as he checks out the cars. The door slams shut for Lauri Heinonen. This is for the third step on the podium. These guys want it. They're hungry for it. The Finnish fans are hungry for it. The flags are waving. Everybody are on their feet as they leave the line. This is going to be one for the history books for Lauri Heinonen as he flicks that car across the circuit, goes for that first outside zone, puts a bumper to the wall, and now Korpelinski sees an opening, starts to apply the pressure, starts to put himself where he needs to be. As Heinonen takes a very nice line through the centre of the circuit. Full wet track once again as he goes deep into outside zone 4, puts the back end towards the wall. Korpelinski can't be shaken though. The Polishman is hungry for that taste of champagne as they come down the hill. He flicks it through as Korpelinski sees the opening and goes for the side and the rear wheel of Lauri Heinenen's S13.
Yeah, this rain has played exactly into the hand of Lauri Heinonen. He said if the conditions stay this way, I can drive it all day. So for him, This couldn't be better. The track is very even now. We're not finding any more of those grippy spots. And Lauri Heinonen knows how to drive in these conditions, but Pavel Korpelinski has had so much practice through here and has so much riding on it to be able to move up through the ranks and stand on that podium. He is driving so well and very calculated, not overcommitting at any point in time. Could he be a little bit closer? For sure, but this is so strategic. He's knowing where he needs to dive. He understands everywhere that Lauri is gonna go, and he's in the judges' heads right now going, I'm gonna put down this solid chase run, and I'm gonna let Lauri make a mistake behind me when we swap this out. I'm gonna be so perfect, I'm gonna frustrate him and see if he does something crazy behind me, and I'll know that I had a fantastic chase run before him.
There we go, they get the green light ready to go. This could be the final run of the third and fourth place playoff. They come through the gears. Pavel Korpelinski flicks that car across the track as the rain starts to fall heavier in Finland. They touch on initiation and on the way into that second outside zone, and Heinenen's closer than Korpelinski as he starts to apply more pressure than before. Look at this, he's squeezing Korpelinski, but now he gives him the room to manoeuvre as he transitions through. Korpelinski takes that momentum and fires the car towards the wall. It's not as deep as Heinenen as they fire down the hill. Korpelinski looks for the outside zone, and Heinonen goes for one more push, one more dive up the inside as Korpelinski takes it to the wall. Heinonen on the rear wheel.
Wow, but I mean, Pavel out front, as solid as ever. That lead run, the line was amazing. The angle was great, and as much style as you can get out here in the rain. But Lauri Heinonen not taking any chances, knowing, you know, his spotter's telling him, hey, Pavel's chase run was good, but you can be great. This is your opportunity in front of everybody here in Finland. And he took it, he seized it, he got right into the side of him, threw it, and just waited and bided his time, knowing that every zone I can get in a little bit closer, I can reel him in a little bit tighter, and every transition, Lauri Heinonen does that. Takes the time, has the patience, dials himself back, refuses to make the mistake that put him into this battle, and knows this is his last shot to stand on the box in front of all of his friends, family, and fans here at Power Park. Wow.
Beautiful shots there from our wall cameras. You see right down, you can see exactly where the cars are putting the rear bumpers onto the wall. They're both out the car. Look at this. Korpelinski says, wow, that was good fun.
Yeah, great fun from these drivers who the tension is here. That last step is waiting as our judges have the call.
Yeah, here we go. Slide them left for Heinonen, right for Korpelinski. Who's going to take third place here? It's going to be Lauri Heinonen! Lauri Heinonen takes third step on the podium here at round 3 in Finland, and look what it means to him. He finally gets himself back on the podium after last year and starts to ask the question to every other driver, can you still hang with me? Korpelinski bows out, but what an incredible drive from Pavel Korpelinski.
Yeah, well deserved, and he is going into the history books. He is moving up the ranks in the points, and he refuses to be a bridesmaid any longer and is still hunting on that championship. But Lauri Heinonen gets the shining spot here, taking third place. And this is it.
Here we go. This is it. We've talked about this all day. Who will take top step on the podium? It's time to find out. It's time for the final. He did it in 2023. Can he do it in 2025? He said he hasn't been feeling himself. He hasn't stood on the podium since Riga 2024 when he was crowned the King of Riga. What can he do right now? Conor Shanahan is back in the zone. He's back in the moment, but standing alongside him, standing in his way, is the Norwegian sledgehammer who's ready to take a throw at that car, to hammer him back down into position. Will Kvia throw a stone into the works? Will he throw a spanner into the works? What will he throw into the works? Because Kvia is also equally as hungry for a top step on the podium here at Drift Masters. He slams that car into gear. Kvia laser focused as he looks at Shanahan leaving the line. They come through the gears of full wet circuit as they go bumper to bumper, and almost a mistake, almost contact from Kvia on initiation as Kvia goes for the side of the GT86 of Conor Shanahan, but Shanahan looks flawless in that second outside zone. He works his way around, he collects the inner, but Shanahan can't shake Kvia right now as Shanahan goes nice and deep into outside zone 4, but it's only opening the door more for Tor Arne Kvia. The Norwegian can't be lost. He can't be shaken as he goes for it. Nice transition from Shanahan as he positions himself perfect. But once again, the Norwegian's all over him.
Yeah, Tor Arne Kvia knew what he had to do here, and he dialed himself back. Someone who was known for incidents and contact and controversy, and all of his battles went, if I'm going to win this, I have to drive smart, and I have to go against somebody who's going to lay down an absolutely epic run, and that was Conor Shanahan. Tor Arne Kvia dialed it back just enough to not do anything crazy and not knock himself out here, and Conor Shanahan gave him such a heck of a run out in the lead, just completely calm, cool, calculated. Look at that laser focus. That stare could peel wallpaper as Conor Shanahan staring at the finish line through every transition and every corner, and Tor Arne Kvia staring at the side of that GT86, hoping that there is a top step on the other side of it, and we swap them around, and can Tor Arne Kvia outdrive Conor Shanahan in the lead?
We're about to find out. They get the thumbs up all round. We wait for that green light, and look at this. Shanahan already creeping off the line. He knows he wants it. He's hungry for it as he slams through the gears in that Toyota GT86. He goes to the back bumper of Kvia already as Kvia takes a shallower line through that first outside zone. Now he's into the wall. Now he's hungry for it. But look at this from Shanahan. He's clinical. He's even deeper into the wall than he was before as he opens the door and allows Kvia for the transition. He's going to make a dive through the centre of the circuit, and he does. As Kvia goes deep into four, he opens the door for Shanahan to take a step in, and there's no shaking Conor Shanahan. He's right with him. This is mirror for mirror. This is man on man right now as machine is working perfectly. Kvia goes too hard and almost stops it, and Shanahan makes contact.
Yeah, Shanahan wanted this battle to end heads up, so decided, you know what, Tor Arne Kvia, you don't have the momentum. I'm going to push you through the rest of this run. I'm going to make sure that this goes to the judge's decision, and what an epic run from both of them. Tor Arne Kvia, so great out in the lead, and look at Conor, just so intense, slapping the helmet, getting ready, getting into the zone. Tor Arne Kvia throws big into the second outside zone, just dragging what is left of the rear end of that car, and Conor Shanahan completely dialed, having his hand on the handbrake, ready to make any correction needed, and just pushing the pace, pushing that pink S chassis all the way around this track. Conor, the Shadow Shanahan, because he is right there behind you through every turn. There is nothing you can do to shake this man. All the confidence in the world, and just so clinical as he comes through these transitions. Nobody transitions like a Shanahan does, and look at this. Decides to push Conor Kvia through the rest of this run. It is absolutely epic. It is mind-boggling what we witnessed here today at Power Park in Finland. Oh, what a treat. What a treat, Ian.
Absolutely unbelievable. And look at this as the Shanahan team jump up and down and clap their hands. Wow.
Yeah, wow indeed. An absolutely incredible weekend here. And one for the history books, to say the absolute least.
Well, we need to make this one official. Both guys out of the car, the helmets slip off. They've pulled in front of the grandstand as Kvia says, did I damage my car anywhere at any point in that run? And we need to make it official. We wait for the judge's decision to drop in. Who is going to take it? Looks like Kvia may be having issues with that car. And and look at this. Kvia's boost hose popped off on the run, not running as much power. And that could have been what happened at the end of the run. Look at the smile on Shanahan's face as he says, what happened? And you yeah, there you go. And that's what happened. Kvia lost power, and he couldn't make it up the hill and across the line, and Shanahan gave him a little push, a little nudge. We wait for that score to drop in from the judges. And here we go, let's make it official. Who is the winner of round 3 here in Finland? Left for Shanahan, right for Kvia, and it's going to be Conor Shanahan! Conor Shanahan wins round 3 of Drift Masters here in Finland, and Tor Arne Kvia takes second spot on the podium. Lauri Heinonen rounds it out in 3rd place on the podium. Jacob's going to head off to the podium and do some announcing down there, and we're going to round out the show here. What an incredible day in Finland, and look at what it means to the Shanahan team and to Conor Shanahan himself. So much.
Yeah, I just want to take a minute and say this has been absolutely incredible. These drivers are insane, and this is one of the most exciting events I've ever witnessed. You cannot tell me that drifting in the rain isn't incredible. These motorsports athletes have put on an amazing show, and well-deserved from Conor Shanahan.
Certainly well-deserved with Conor Shanahan. There we go. We're going to go down with Conor Shanahan. He's with Becky. Becky, he's done it. He's got himself back on the podium.
Absolutely, Ian. Conor, congratulations. You managed to put it on the top spot. You are the winner of round 3. Can you tell us what this means to you, your family, your fans, your friends?
Yeah, it means a lot. As I said earlier in the day, I've just kind of tried to fall into the momentum. You know, every day you get up, you ask yourself, are you still good enough to be at the top of this game? And it's a hard game when the days are bad, but damn, it's a good day when the days are good. I just honestly can't dedicate this enough to the people around me. The support what I have all over the world right now is mind-blowing to my incredible team. I honestly feel like the team is back, not just me. It's amazing. All my friends, they're putting their heart and soul into this. The car was unbelievable, and I can't thank Jack. He's built a monster this off-season. DBM Engineering, race running barns, Pulsar turbos. It's a winning package, and I'm glad that we got to show it here. To all my family, my mum and dad, never stop supporting, everybody around me. I can't thank them all enough. To my girl Amanda, who's watching in America, I'm sure she's happy and sad that she's not here, but thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm back where I belong. 2023, I won this event and went on to win the championship, and the plan is no different now.
Talk about the highs and the lows. I mean, the highs can be so high like right now, but the lows as well. You have to manage it all.
Yeah, it's, as I said, those days where it goes bad are so hard, and I think any driver at the top of the sport knows what that feels like. And I put in a lot of work as a driver, but I also put in a lot of work with everybody around me, and I'm honestly so lucky to have the people what I have. Every day I tell myself that, and I know that it'll come good again, and today we proved it, and it's really is a nice feeling when you're at the top of this game.
Congratulations, Conor. We will see you celebrating tonight, I'm sure. Oh, one thing.
All the Finnish fans, as I said, this is my favorite race. Thank you all for supporting. I wish that, of course, the Finnish driver is on the podium. I obviously wish it was nice, but thank you all so much, and Oli Konjota, and I was happy that you guys got a championship last year. Thank you for an amazing place, thank you for an amazing race, and we'll be back for sure.
Well, there you have it. Congratulations, Conor. Ian, Jacob, what a round.
What a round indeed, Becky. Absolutely unbelievable. And you can see what it meant to Conor Shanahan there, the emotions pouring out of him. A man that struggled last year massively. He was so desperate to keep a hold of that championship, but it just couldn't work. And here is how today rounded out. Conor Shanahan takes maximum points with 100, then Kvia with 88, Lauri Heinonen with 76, and we start to work our way down. James Dean in the fight now with 58 points collected this weekend, alongside his good friend Piotr Wojciech with 55. Mika Keski-Korpi, what a drive from that young Finnish driver with 48 points in the bag this weekend. Naoki Nakamura, though, proving this weekend he's got what it takes, and he's back in Europe, and for a reason, that's for sure. Oran Nilsson rounds out 12th place with 32 points, and we start to get in there. Dwayne McKeever, we lost him in that top 32, but he still bags 26 points this weekend, and then the points start to dwindle away as we get down the order and to the top guys that managed to just bag enough to keep themselves in the show this weekend. So there we go, there's the guys that are sitting at the moment with no points on the board, and work to be done throughout the rest of the season as we head forward in the next round at Mondello Park in Ireland for round 4. And you can see down there celebrations all round as the Shanahan family and the Heinonen family come together for a photo. Let's take a look though at what it's done to the championship right now. Oliver Randalou was leading it this weekend, but how does it sit right now as Conor Shanahan leads the championship with 152 points. Leapfrogs Oliver Randalou, who sits second now. James Dean jumps himself up into 3rd place, and Kvia puts himself into the question in 4th. Lauri Heinonen rounds out the top 5 with 109 points. Well, let's take a look at the season calendar quickly before we disappear here in Finland. That is it. Conor Shanahan wins round 3 of Drift Masters 2025. Round 4, we're heading to Ireland. Let's take a look at what Ireland has to show us when we go there in a few weeks' time. Well, here we go, Mondello Park, synonymous for Irish drifting. It's created some incredible Irish drivers, as we've seen this weekend. It always throws up some thrills and spills. This high-speed, blind initiation always puts drivers to the edge of the circuit and sometimes over. It's door-on-door the whole way round with 2 immovable concrete walls and a technical circuit that pushes the drivers to the absolute limit. Will we see an Irish driver on the top step of the podium, or will that Irish streak continue to be broken in Ireland? Well, from me, Jacob, and from everyone here at Drift Masters, we will see you at round 4 at Mondello Park. It's goodbye for now.